Yo, how you doing, folks? Welcome to episode 124 of the Simpa Life Podcast. Hope you are keeping well. It's been a good few weeks since I've last seen you. The seasons have changed. We're now officially in autumn. It's getting a bit colder, but it's getting a bit prettier. All the trees are going brown and different colours. Nice time to be out in nature. Obviously, mushroom season as well. A very good time to be living in the north, Wales or Scotland, or well, actually quite a lot of the country. As the season is starting to evolve in this country. Not that I'm promoting the picking of said mushrooms, but they do grow abundantly this time of year. And they're wonderful for mental health and help with SAD, which is just something worth mentioning because today is actually World Mental Health Day. Oh, well, it is for me recording this today. By the time you guys listen to it, it's not, but it matters today anyway, so I'm bringing it up. But yeah, hope you're having a wonderful time, whatever you've been up to, folks. And I want to get straight on to talking with today's guest because I think there's a lot of relevant and, topical conversations to be had here. So yeah, without further ado, I will introduce today's guest, who is a second timer. Welcome back, brother. He is a UK-based cannabis product tester and ambassador, harm reduction advocate, and a medicinal consumer. They are simply James. How are you doing, brother?
Hey, good mate. Good to be back again. Am I the first person who's been back twice? No, there's been a few people back twice now, isn't there?
Guy Coxell, I think, is up to 5. He's the 5-timer.
The guy's a regular. Yeah, I know that much. I think has Buddy been on a couple of times as well?
I think Buddy's been on once. Is it not?
Just touching back on the seasonal thing there, you mentioned mushrooms. Now, I've got a quick question. I actually don't know the answer to it now. It used to be a point where if you're in possession of wet magic mushrooms or psilocybin, it was deemed to be legal to possess them, only became illegal when you dried them. Then they changed the law as if to say if you actually had them in your person, it was then legal. What would the law be if you consumed them straight from the ground?
It's the same as quite a lot of other drugs in this country. It's not unlawful to have a drug in your system. That's not classified as possession. If you're high as balls on acid, they're not going to charge you for possession of acid because they need something. Do you know what I mean? So it's
you could go over your mates and play Shaun the Sheep for a day and go and harvest some magical grass.
Theoretically. So I think there is something about the chemical conversion process that means that the fresh ones would obviously be a lot less potent. There is still some available psilocybin to convert into psilocin. You eat enough of them. Yeah, and exactly. It's about if you've not got anything on your person or anything that they've visually seen you discard, they then can't provide evidence towards you being in possession. And like I said, you can be tripping balls and doing whatever you want.
So you're still lawful. You're still acting in a lawful manner.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole thing that was written into the rules when they updated it from wet to dry, stating that if you were, say, a landowner, you were allowed to remove those mushrooms from your land. So you could go around and get caught with a giant crate. And what are you doing? I'm getting rid of these dangerous mushrooms off my land. And that would be a lawful defense. So they wrote little caveats in at different levels.
Yeah, loopholes here and there. Yeah, I'm sure that'll need to be looked into a bit further, I think.
I mean, if you have permission of landowners, I mean, there's obviously some of the Welsh valleys, quite a lot of the farmers up there get quite pissed off because of the oversaturation and the disrespect, like people parking in vans and camping and littering and causing a nuisance while they're doing it. Whereas there's other farmers that are like, we don't care, you know what I mean?
Bash on.
Yeah, I think it's just building that relationship and that rapport. And it's a real esoteric community is the mushroom community, and it's such diversity. You've got obviously the new school kind of techno kids that are all learned from the internet, and then you got all the old hippie types that have kept so much of the knowledge for so long, and then some of them have got online and started spreading the info, and it's an interesting world.
Well, there's the first tangent of the day.
There you go, straight off the bat. That's a good tone. We like it. As I said, obviously it's your second time on the podcast. You were last here for episode 64, which you were 4 episodes off it being twice what it would have been. Again, but that was January 2022. What you been up to since, man?
Oh, a lot's changed since then. With regards to the main sort of aim with regards to the testing, obviously the beta testing packages have been released. I've now got the distillate testing, oil, hash, rosin, flour to 2 decimal places. I've been pretty much testing Absolutely everything. Some very, very, very surprising, really, really high testing products, but we all know that high doesn't mean necessarily better. But potency wise, yeah, the potency is steadily on the increase. We're seeing, like I said, I probably mentioned it in the last podcast. I think I'm seeing around 2% a year an increase in the genetics just through the breeding these different cultivars. But yeah, the testing's been going from strength to strength. Seeing so much at events throughout the year as well. This year, let me think what's been the big hitters this year. Zawa was a big hitter this year. Doja's new one, this permanent marker. I'm seeing a lot of that going around. Sturdy old rainbow sherbet, that's still kicking about. Rainbow belts. A lot of these rainbow strains and stuff are still holding their own, carrying these high THC numbers. But yeah, I would say the overall quality of the flower is steadily rising as well. It's not just the THC levels. I would say the overall terpene profiles and the actual understanding of the plant is becoming a lot better. People are starting to realise they're having to do living soil beds and no-till and things like this, and they're producing some of the best flower you'll get your hands on. What else have I been doing? I've been keeping in touch with my friends in Italy as well. They've been doing a lot of breeding with regards to the CBD projects. And they're going from strength to strength over there. Big shout out Canopy Roma. They're producing some really, really fantastic medicinal flower at the minute. They've got a 0% THC banana strain at the minute. It's just off this chart. It's crazy, insane. They've got a lot of orangey terps, a lot of grape terps as well, and they're starting to dip their toe into the seed market and things as well. So it's good to see a company start off from nothing and grow into a company that's actually producing some products that are really, really, they're holding their own in the market. And they're completely different for anything that you've probably ever seen. Structure-wise, terpene-wise, everything like that, they're completely different. But I think difference good sometimes, and I think they've done well with the projects that they've been dealing with for the past maybe 6 years now, 7 years. So this has been a long-term thing that they've been doing, and it's now starting to come to fruition. So that's been really exciting to see, and I've been working quite closely with them. I've also been away to Thailand, as we spoke about a few weeks ago as well. We caught up at Product Earth before I touch on the Thailand subject. Product Earth, went up there, spoke to a lot of people, including yourself. I spent the day with you. A lot of interesting conversations had. Done some testing with Tyler. Again, some very, very surprising numbers. Some numbers on these packets that come pre-labelled were very surprising, as always. Will not mention any names or any brands, but these packs that come with the numbers on them claiming 34% THC, etc., etc. They just don't add up. They don't. I thought we were past it, but clearly people are still buying into this hype train that people seem to run. I think, excuse me, I think the marketing with a lot of these genetics or these breeders now are on point, better than the actual product themselves. But that's all down to personal opinion, isn't it? That's all subjective. But hey ho. I was in Thailand, just trying to get an idea of it from an outsider's point of view, going with no sort of preconceived ideas, going and just landing without any sort of recommendations, any places to go and see. Just rocked up and was quite pleasantly surprised, but shocked at the same time. it was like the Wild West. It was like every fifth sort of shop down was like a saloon, mate, and it was just, yeah, they've got these big inflatable guys beckoning you in the door with a big weed leaf head and everything. It's in your face. It's in your face. There is no beating around the bush. It is legal. I spoke to a lot of people with regards to their opinion on how it's working, and a lot of the locals are loving it, mate. A lot of the locals are really, really in favour. It's given them a chance to provide for the families. They've got this new crop that they're able to produce legally, whereas before it was hyper illegal. They're now able to grow these crops and provide for the families and get a fair wage for a fair product, kind of thing. Some dispensaries that I went to, it was quite surprising on the pricing scale of some of the flour. Some of the flour was, let's just say, we probably would turn our nose up at here, and they're still asking for maybe 10, 11, 12 pound per gram for it. Whereas you go to other places, one place that I found I actually quite enjoyed, felt really welcome when I went in. It was all Thai grown, very well priced. What probably the equivalent of the quality that we would see here in the UK. Some strains probably just a bit better. I think they've got a great thing happening over there, but there has to be some form of legislation, or like what they've done in Canada. I listened to a guy's podcast from Canada, and they're only allowed dispensaries within a certain populace. So there's only so many people serving one dispensary, whether it's 10,000 or 100,000 or whatever, I cannot remember. But I think there should be a similar kind of thing there, just to stop the overpopulation of dispensaries and things.
I can see both sides on that. But if we look at, we live under neoliberalist ideals, under the ideology of capitalism and free market economics. So nothing else is restricted in that way. It's just given to the market, and the market decides it. And I think anywhere you let the leash off, that's going to happen. And what's happening in various states in the US is, there's conglomeratization, and the big fish eats the little fish until there's just a bunch of fucking sharks. Yeah, there's still almost the illusion of competition for a while. Yeah, the big boys up top, I mean, they're just buying out other businesses to get licenses. I mean, there's interstate conglomeratization that are happening through companies like True Relief, Cure Relief, etc., that own hundreds of dispensaries. They're not allowed to move product across lines. They're holding it, waiting till they can. And then they go, well, we've already got the thing. We're going to be the McDonald's. We'll be the Starbucks. And it will end up, that's what corporate neo-legalization leads to, is about five companies that even them are going to be owned by 3 investment firms, effectively through shareholder capitalism. So I
think that's kind of happening in a way, because there's, like, you're allowed to produce this plant, but there's only certain places where you can produce it in volume. So this is obviously, now I was on an island, so there's only one island. You can drive around this island in one day. So on this island, you could go to the north of the island and obviously buy said product, and go to the south of the island, and it's exactly the same at a different price, because obviously there's been different negotiations had, but it's still the same product. So it's obviously coming from one source. So the people who are in control of this, or who are growing this plant, are obviously the ones who, in my opinion, should be controlling the market, rather than now what the government are pushing for. They're trying to push for a U-turn on it. They're just trying to turn around and say, no, we want it for a medicinal market now, which I don't think is going to work, mate. I think it's too far gone for that, if I'm honest, Simpa.
Well, I think it's not necessarily even medicinal. I think they want a medical market. So they want cannabis to be owned and operated within the modern pharmaceutical paradigm. So therefore, if we accept that it's medicine, only doctors and pharmacists and qualified individuals can deal with it. You can't produce it. And so I think that they're trying to create a separation from it, whereas, the stuff you grow at home is the drug form, and it'll always be drugs, and stuff you give to each other are drugs. We take the special dangerous plant and we make it magic. Through our systems, it's our procedures and our over legislation, our expensive licensing. That's what makes it safe. The magic piece of paper on your prescription, that makes it medicine. Whereas what you grow at home, and I think Thailand has got the best opportunity than any other country has had because of it. It gets to show this decentralized supply. And to think of, say, like rice or whatever, you go in and you got Uncle Ben's, Tesco's, or Asda's, or like 100 different varieties of rice. Rice is being produced and owned by one or two companies. So they buy it all. It's all these decentralized farms, and you end up as part of like conglomerate chains. So you're like, we're part of this group, which is a subsidiary of this group. And so all of that conglomeratization happens for the whole of the rice producers. They buy from all the decentralized, which is then operated up. They then sell it to the big packaging companies like Unilever, etc. They then create different brands and own oppositional brands to create illusion. That's exactly what they're trying to do with cannabis, as you say, that it's the same guy produced it, but it's then at the north of the island. Well, our business, we're higher clientele, so we're going to charge a premium. Somewhere that's just we pay cheap on our retail and it's easier, we can supply the same product. And that happens everywhere. Think of alcohol or things like that. And that's what I mean about the free market economics. For all I'm not really pro-capitalist. Anybody that watches this podcast might quite be aware of that. But I think there are mechanisms there that if we have to live under this system for all of this, we have to put cannabis into that. And if we regulate it more as a fucking vegetable, it's the same as I could just suddenly, if I had a garden, produce a fuck ton of potatoes. I can then go get them classed and then I can sell them up that supply chain. I don't need a special license to grow the potatoes. I just need to be able to show basic sanitation, hygiene, and jump through a couple of little loopholes to get the classification. Once the product's classified, it's as good as any other product.
Yeah, and there's zero of that happening there. There's not one thing happening there.
And that's where it needs to be through the testing, isn't it?
I took the machine over, and these guys and girls, everybody's involved. It's not just men over there. Men and women are involved in this industry over there, which is great to see. It's a very equal opportunity market over there. But when I brought this testing machine out and asked to test, and the first place I went in and asked if they wanted to do any testing or anything done, I basically got asked to leave. So
maybe they know what they've got.
Yeah. The second place I went in, I spoke to the people who worked there and obviously showed them the device, and I'd done a few tests, and they were amazed. They could not believe it. So they've phoned the boss. Mm-hmm. And the boss has then dropped me a message. We've arranged a meeting. I went over. We had lunch and stuff, and we basically done a bit of testing. And the guy's saying, "Don't go home. Set up a business. Don't leave. we need this here," kind of thing. I done another bit of testing up in a place in the Fisherman's Village in Koh Samui, and they were the same. They were blown away. They were wanting extracts tested, everything. They were all over it, and the amount of leads I've got they want me to go back, mate. They basically said, "Don't leave. When can you come back again?" And I was like, "Oh, kind of on the spot." But they're trying to hook up like meetings with the growers and everything already. Guys dealing with the genetics, guys dealing with things at the next level up from the dispensaries, and I'm like, wow, this could be a big opportunity kind of thing for me financially to make some money. But at the same time, it's a very fragile market. Like I said, they say what I think is going to happen is a lot of the smaller dispensaries or a lot of the less sort of preferred dispensaries are going to get swallowed up, or they're going to end up closing. That's going to leave the door open for the big fish to then capitalise on this, and it's going to happen. It'll probably take a year or two before the government get their act together, though. I think it's past the point where they can do anything quickly now.
I think forgive me if I'm misremembering this or misunderstanding. I think they have basically a similar thing of royal assent. That basically once it's approved through like a royal assent thing and it's signed off at the top, you've got to go back through the procedures to whatever. They don't have the autonomy to just rip it up. And because it was a previous parliament, previous house, they've got to, same with what happened to the first draft of the Safe Banking Act that kind of got through several things in the lower Senate and whatever. But because then the government changes, any go back to start, you know what I mean? Do not pass go, do not collect £200, So
what will happen is the same thing that's happening in Italy at the minute with regards to the CBD flower laws and things like that. They'll just all get together because all these markets that have been taught, these people in these markets have been talking to, whether it's the European markets, German, Italian, Spanish, or even the Thai market, all these people are so close together. I'm in group chats with Italians and Spaniards, and these people have got each other's back. They've just recently raised over €50,000 to a point to get themselves a legal representation to then take this bill towards Parliament in Italy. It's crazy. I think they raised about €50,000 in about 4 days. Same when I was in Thailand. They're all there trying to push forward the scene to make it better for everybody, better genetics, sharing genetics, and everybody's out to help each other and better themselves because it's providing a better quality of life. The UK is probably the only place on this planet that have experienced the infighting, the backstabbing, everybody calling each other out, the bickering on the social medias. It's quite embarrassing. I think we all need to take a step back to maybe 2015 again and then move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think this country compared to any other. I'm trying to think how to kind of word this. There will be revelations that come forward pretty soon, depending how fast this individual finishes their current book, that I think will reveal why the UK is so fucked, to show, in the loosest terms, a conspiracy in the UK with the Home Office and private enterprise to destroy any rational movement, to negate any conversation or discourse on cannabis other than the narrative that was set forth allegedly, potentially by conspirators nearly 30 years ago in this country. And I think the global ramifications of the connections of the industry that was created and the kind of cozy relationship between private enterprise and the UK Home Office, or what I suppose the Americans call like the deep state, you know, your career, what do you call them? Your career civil servants, you know, operate with their own kind of impunity at their own levels. They're not elected, but they have far more powers than the puppets that we vote for. So I think there's a lot of information there that will come to light before too long that I think will give a reason for this. And I think when you look at any other country, they don't have that force setting us about each other. Yeah, they have disagreements over language and nomenclature and things like that, but not to the same degree that we have had in this country. Not this absolute pig-headedness towards the idea of separate towers or pillars of cannabis. Like, we're hemp, we're CBD, we're medicinal, we're rec, we're this, we're that. Whereas the rest of the world are like, no, it's all the same plant. There's the argument of, say, Thailand are trying to go now, obviously, medicinal only, but no rec. When medicinal versus medical, if they're saying medicinal is a self-guided activity. You choose to consume something medicinally. Say, like, I don't know, there's quite a few people I know that if they go out, they'll drink one pint or one drink, and that calms them. They almost self-medicate with the alcohol to take off their social anxiety. So they're self-medicating, but then that's not a medicine in the sense that a doctor's then going to, every time you go out here, drink this amount of vodka and get yourself away. You know, but then if they make it medical, then it can only be this prescribed, controlled, you know, regulated dosage, etc. And cannabis doesn't fit into that paradigm. She just doesn't.
No, and see the thing, like when I was in Thailand as well, when I was speaking to like the locals, and they were basically saying it's accepted by everybody. I was speaking to one lass who owned a dispensary up in Beaufort, and she was basically saying they get all ages through the door from like 21 right through till 85, 90 years old, looking for like creams and balms and things like this. It's been accepted by everybody. the king's decree is the king's word, and they accept it. So everybody's just accepted it.
It's weird because I was talking to somebody earlier today, one of the nutrient reps. I'm not going to shout you out. You get your own shout outs. Popped by earlier. We were having a smoke and a catch up earlier on today, and he was talking about. Oh no, my brain. Get back to the thought. Don't want to derail this train of thought. Come on. We were talking about. Oh bollocks.
The aging population, CBD bans. No,
no, we were talking about. He knows somebody sort of in his family was like, I couldn't consume it here. I wish I could. But when I go to Amsterdam and it's just different. The weed there's better. When I'm over here, it makes me paranoid. I don't know what they spray it with. And it's just, he kind of looked at her and went, no, you're paranoid because there's consequence here.
Yeah,
there was real consequence here. Whereas in Amsterdam, up to 5 fucking grams on the street, not even a slap on the fucking wrists. You know what I mean? Yeah, even the public smoking ban in I can't remember the Dutch area for it, but the traditional red light district, that is still only a €250 fine, I think, or at least that was what it was proposed to be. I don't know what they've settled on, but it's still not that consequential in the grand scheme of it.
I don't even think it's being enforced.
I think it'd be enforced in the sense of if you're being a real arsehole. Whereas if you're just casually on a joint, they'll just go, not in here, go away.
Yeah, and I think it's the same as pretty much anything in life. If you've got a common sense approach to things and you're being respectful and you're not standing in somebody's doorway smoking a spliff, you're not gonna face any consequences. So just be respectful and be mindful that there are people who don't want to be smelling it and there are people who don't consume it. It's like you're never going to force drink on anybody kind of thing where you do get the peer pressure and whatever, but you would not. I don't know. I think it may be just me. It's maybe just me, but I would not drink in front of people who don't drink alcohol, kind of thing. I don't personally drink alcohol, so I don't like to be surrounded by drunk people.
There's a space where you drink differently in a pub or a club than, say, like Durham. We famously have our riverbanks. The sunny days that we do get, I'm not complaining about the weather. Don't tick me down as another episode of me complaining about the weather. We drink down there. The cops let you. But if you've then got a crate or a couple of crates, maybe a fucking problem. If you're sat down there with a couple of little bottles of fucking Bulmers or whatever you choose, it's a proportional amount. They're going to see you're having a quiet few drinks, being respectful. You haven't come down here to get fucked up. And speaking, as we were talking before about Thailand, it's the festival effect, which is now a term I'm going to create out of my arse right now, which is that I think there is an increase in antisocial behaviour at some festivals because you suddenly let off the leash. So everyone's going, I'm this and I need to keep my job and my appearance and la 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 and the law and CCTV cameras and you live in this thing. And all of a sudden you get into this space where drug taking's tolerated. And so there ends up being a kind of certain type of people that go to a festival and act like fucking assholes because they feel entitled to do it because that's the right space to do it. Whereas I feel if every day was more like a festival, I'm not saying in its most extreme forms, but in terms of their choice, if you wanted to go and take some MDMA on a Wednesday and go see a fucking DJ or whatever, that should be your fucking right in a venue that's created for that facilitates that, the support.
Conscious choice, isn't it? You're making that choice at the end of the day.
And people are going to do it regardless. So the only function of a decent government, if at all we ought to have a government at all, there's a bit of my anarchism coming through there, it should be to recognize what is humanity, what is the culture of the populace you represent, then create legislation that promotes wellness and health within that. That isn't to restrict it, that's to go, all right, these people are taking all these fucking drugs. Well, let's test the drugs.
So look at Glasgow.
Let's give them a place to use it. Let's give them a place to test them.
Glasgow just done it. Glasgow have just got the first open consumption lounge in the UK for harder drugs, mate.
Well, I mean, technically, there's two faults with that. One, for the love of Peter Crikant, legend of a fucking man. I'd say this is the first official one in Scotland because the workers say Danny Ahmed and others in Teesside, they had a diamorphine consumption injection space until they had their funding removed last year. So I think they were the first. But Peter Crikant in his ambulance, and he took fucking hell for it. There's an episode, folks, I'll give you the link below. He basically got an ambulance. So he started with a van, then he got an ambulance. And he was basically driving that around Glasgow and creating a mobile safe injection site. He handed out clean needles. They had like advice for people and whatever else. And the cops initially really tried to fuck him. At one point, they got his insurance removed, so he couldn't like lawfully move the vehicle. And it was basically the work of him. And obviously, there's a lot of other people up there, like Anna Ross and others that have done like great work. But he was that was direct fucking on the street activism. Come and fucking get me. And he's due back on the podcast actually in the next sort of few weeks. Once he's back from. I'm not going to give his personal details away. He's out in the world, but yeah, he's coming back on the podcast to discuss kind of the evolution and what's happening there because exactly that.
Yeah, because it's been moving forward at a fast rate, not north of the border. See, I'm south of the border now and have been for some time, but it's good to see in a sense that we're actually starting to talk about this and at that level rather than it just being amongst the peers, amongst everybody else.
Yeah, entirely. I mean, my only fear, and actually I am in conversation with a couple of people that are involved in some of the work up there to get on the podcast so we can actually talk about it directly rather than it being sort of second, third hand. My fear that is when Mike Barton, our former chief constable in Durham, retired, his replacement basically pissed in the face of his and Ron's legacy, and they become quite aggressive. They're the ones who pushed for the nitrous oxide ban that's now coming by the end of the year. That was because of Durham Police. Yeah. She's now got the job as the head of Police Scotland, and her stance on drugs and it all being antisocial behaviour, and there's not the nuanced understanding of why people take drugs, no empathy towards the cultures, no, you know, they're just literally like, it's all antisocial behaviour, all consumption is bad, you know, all activities committed by these people are bad and therefore we need to police them. So for all there is this progressive movements, and I think a lot of that is peer-led, it is lived and living experience individuals, because the numbers don't fucking lie. Scotland is struggling, and it's
the overdose capital of the world.
And I think it's a representation of the issue of late stage capitalism, the disconnect and the big fish eating the little fish. That's where we've got your Zuckerbergs, your Musks, your etceteras. They're so far up there that there's not the middle anymore. You've got millionaires that aren't even rich anymore because of what the fucking economics are. Do you know what I mean? And everyone is then pushed into the bottom, and there's these pockets of destitution across the country. No offense to, you know, Burnley or to Blackpool or any place like that, but fuck me, I mean, Durham, for fuck's sake, we're still the third most impoverished region in Northern Europe. Yet we've got a mansion park that that'd be a hell of an arm if I could throw a brick from here and hit it. But I could, you know, it's a stone's throw away from here. They're 10-bedroom mansions. There's then an old abandoned railway track that represents the death of the industry of the Northeast. And on the other side of that is some of the cheapest houses in the county. And the juxtaposition of seeing their Porsches and their Ferraris and all of this shit drive through. And it's the juxtaposition is fucking mental. Better proportional tax systems, better proportional representation in politics. We would just fucking, I'm not saying take all their fucking money, but
you're never going to get that, are you?
Not with the current people in charge, and even with the next ones that come in, they're only allowed to come in because they'll still serve the needs of the system. For all they change it a bit and go, oh look, we painted it a different color. Yeah, it's still a pile of shit. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, you can't roll a shit in glitter.
Mm-hmm. But they keep trying, and we keep believing it in different ways, and we're fucked. I feel we're at a point now where they install scenarios almost like when you're playing SimCity back in the day and you'd be like, oh, put in the hurricanes, and it fucks up your city and you're going to deal with the consequences. I feel like the system is now just, I say that the loosest system, like the establishment, whatever.
Manufactured to create turmoil, mate.
Entirely. And I think the whole, without getting too geopolitical, I'm not going to make a comment on either side, but the current Israel-Palestine thing feels entirely inevitable. Why would it not happen right now? We're in such a binary world. If you're not allowed to talk about the middle, you have to take an extreme view on either fucking side, and either way you're wrong.
Yeah. It's mad. It's mad. Yeah, it is mad what's going on in the world at the minute, mate. And I'm going to be brutally honest and say that I've been that busy and I've been kept going that busy in my own private life, and this side of things that I've kind of disassociated myself from what's going on at the minute. I know that I'm getting by at the minute. I know that I'm busy providing a service for everybody else, and I'm pushing the narrative forward for the not just the medicinal side, but for the improvement and the consistency within the medicinal market as well. Because I think we're almost at a point now where the crossover is going to be inevitable, I think. But it's all down to personal preference at the end of the day. If you want to become a medicinal patient and go forward and pay for your consultation charges and things like this and buy the flower at an acceptable level of quality with an acceptable level of terpenes and an acceptable level of medication at the same price as what you would then purchase it off Davy along the street, then I know 90 to 99% of people would go down the medicinal route or the legal route just to have that area protection.
And that's the thing of why most people would do it. It's not for the product. It's not for the access. It's not for any of the things that they purport to offer.
Legal protection.
It's for this little pot. Matt's got a cannabis plant right now, but it's for the pot. So you can put your 10 grams in there and walk around and you're safe. Your license isn't going to be taken from you. Send a little quick letter to a fucking foreign embassy or whatever. You can fly to that country, depending on the law. Check, obviously, your laws, folks. You always check your fucking laws. Get your travel letter from your clinic. But the point is still that if the laws were adjusted so that those few benefits that we're obviously having to lie that we're not getting the benefit from, their system it would actually be there to then help the people who really fucking need it. Like the kids who don't have autonomy to be able to make a decision until they're fucking 18. You know, they're always going to need a different kind of system and need doctors and whatever else to avoid legal issues, insurance problems, you know, liability problems. It's to ensure consent and the system is accountable. Whereas your average Mike down the fucking road, or whoever, your Davey, your Andy, whatever, if they're then being able to produce their own and then they're not going to get done in the same way for driving or whatever, or it's going to be proportional and you'll actually be tested for a sobriety test at the side of the road, etc., then there's no difference.
No. There is zero, mate. The only difference between lawful and unlawful possession is a piece of paper from a GP that says you are in receipt of this flower. Now, whether the flower is grown in a white lab pharmaceutical building or whether it's grown in Davy down the road's garage, it's the same product. Whether it's different chemovar, cultivar, whatever, mate, it does not matter. It's still a cannabis sativa L plant. It's still the same product. So why are we still beating around the bush with this here when the only difference between lawful and unlawful possession is a piece of paper that you have to pay for?
Because I think a lot people wouldn't really begrudge it if it was, say, like the MMJ system initially in America, the medical marijuana system, which was basically you got your doctor, you pay him $100, and he's got a little checklist, and he asks you leading questions like, "How's your back? Right? How do you sleep? How do you sleep? How's your head?" And he basically leads you into, as soon as you say yes on any one of the qualifying conditions, boom, here's your card. You can go to any one of these dispensaries, and you've got autonomy. You've got the right to access what you want. They have the illusion of autonomy right now within the UK system, especially with all the like gamma irradiated, beta irradiated products.
Like talking about that, like this Canadian guy whose podcast I listen to as well. He went through. Now it's recreational in Canada. You can go out and buy it from a dispensary and consume it recreationally. He had serious surgery and he had to go and get an operation and whatever. And he went to try and go through the legal system to try and get through his insurance. So he had health insurance. He tried to then use his health insurance to cover his medicine, and he was receiving exactly the same product he could buy at the dispensary for 3 times the price.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because the insurance companies want their markup. It's a common practice in the North American pharmaceutical trade is that your doctor can offer you a product at one price, or they can offer you this other product that basically I can't remember what it was called. There was a whole thing that was exposed in one of the states, and it was like a diversion. And so the doctor would basically run on the system, and it would tell you the insurance, and that would trigger an automatic thing on their system to charge you more. So if you didn't have that insurance, it was $3 or $5. You suddenly do it. Where so for say like $5, they'd buy it for $3, so the practice would make $2. They'd then change the fucking system, so I'll move it up to 10 or whatever, and then you'd still make the same markup or less. But the procurement cost is the same. Your profit has gone down, but the insurance company's profit's gone up.
They're gone up, yeah.
So it's
madness. It's crazy. It's like over there as well, like the edibles, they're only allowed to sell edibles at 10 milligrams. So you've got a 10 milligram edible. So I don't know. I know certain people within the scene that would probably need to eat, God, I don't know, 100. Well, 10 of them is going to be 100 milligrams, so you probably need 100 of them.
They're almost like, token things. It was, I mean, shout out Warner. I really appreciate it because they do vegan jellies. And basically every road trip when I was driving around in the States and going bit to bit, I just buy a couple of the 10 packs of them. And you just chew them while I'm driving as I'm going, and it just keeping that sort of level. But yeah, if you wanted to actually go, oh, no, I'm going to get fucked up tonight, you're spending like a fucking $100, $200 on edibles and shit.
It's mad. It's crazy. And yet they accept it because that's the framework. That's the laws that have been drawn up for it.
It's the same as like there should be mass education, but also wide access. In the same way I can walk into a shop, maybe not your traditional supermarket or whatever, but I can go get absinthe. Do you know what I mean? Or I can go and get shandy, and nobody's going to stop me or whatever else. And there's no limit on one because it's stronger than the other. The assumption is that I will deal with this situation. And so we had a guy at one of the Durham events years ago, and he was selling dessert jars, like maybe something about a bit smaller than that in terms of like skinnier. And it was 1,000 milligram, and it's like a cake made into the jars. And we got reports about 2 hours into the fucking the field event that in the city centre, there were kids everywhere being sick. And basically they were coming to the event, doing the fucking walk around, buying the thing, going, oh, I can eat more than you, I can eat more than you. And by the time they walked back into the city centre, maybe 0.8 to a mile away, they were all rushing to the toilets in the fucking shopping centre and being sick and shit. Yeah, and it's just like, I can't. Where's the responsibility of regulation there? So it's stay in a pub in the UK. The licensing law is very unequivocal. It is unlawful to serve a drunk person in this country.
Yep, mate. You have to actually sit a test. Now, I used to work in a bar when I was younger, mate. You have to sit a test to be able to responsibly serve alcohol. There's an RSA, so you have to responsibly serve alcohol. If you see somebody that's maybe 4 or 5 pints in and they're slumped over the bar, you can refuse that person alcohol. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you see a 16-stone guy who's 8 pints in, who's still acting the fool and noising up his mates or whatever, you can still serve him alcohol. It's under the bartender's discretion. So you're going into that establishment to make that informed decision that you're going to consume alcohol. If you're at the point where you're then incapacitated, then you should be ejected, in my opinion. Yeah, it's the same whether it's cannabis, whether it's alcohol, whether it's anything.
But you see that it doesn't need an artificial limit. It is interpretable through the language in that I think the exact terminology is intoxicated, at least is intoxicated, which when you look in a dictionary is one thing. When you look in the legalese understanding of it, it's a slightly different thing. And it leaves the interpretable discretion to the individual in charge of said action, in the same way that they did with the riot stuff during the Sarah Everard and everything. And they'd created enough of an ambiguous law that it meant the police interpreted it, but it didn't technically have a definition in legalese, which is why the whole thing got rewritten into it having defined things. Because in law, everything needs to be correct by nature of the language. We
talk about it. It has to be. It's all down to language and how things are written, black and white. Mm-hmm. You can talk about it till you're blue in the face. Until it's black and white on paper, you have to read things 5 times, 10 times to understand the jargon that's used and the terminology that's used and the paperwork that's been written.
Exactly that. And I think you learn, say, from sitting in court or following the judicial proceedings of what happens in this, and you start to learn that, wait a minute, you're done for unlawful possession. What do you mean lawful? What's lawful versus legal? Why are we talking about legal and legalization? But you're charging me for unlawful? Does that mean there's moments when it can be lawful? What are those moments? How do I get those? It changes the approach, whereas they go black and white, legal, illegal. And it's like, I think I was using the comparison of rape, for example. You know what I mean? There isn't a circumstance by which rape is lawful. So it's an illegal action. that fits into that categorization.
Yeah,
but lawful and lawful is the knife argument. Is a chef or you in your kitchen, chopping up your herbs or whatever, that knife, perfectly lawful. Took it in your waistband, walk out in the street, you're done for unlawful possession. Yes. The knife didn't do jack shit. So we don't need to legalize or criminalize knives because we can't. They have no agency or autonomy. It's not going to stand in court with its fucking lawyer and go, well, Your Honor, I didn't mean to stab that person, because it didn't do shit. And the same is true with cannabis. So I think part of the issue of the UK is, I'll hold my hand up, probably part of my fault, is the language. As I've always argued, until we get to the bottom and build a foundation of certainty where we all know exactly what we mean when we say whatever, we can actually move forward. Because every time we've channeled forward with a different argument, different movement, they've destroyed us on language. They've said to our faces the words, the buzzwords, and we've gone, they're representing our interests. They've said all the words that we need to hear. And we go, yeah. And they walk into a fucking room and they sell our souls and our future away to the highest bidder. And that's
what's been happening, mate. I've been seeing it over the last sort of 2 years with this, the medical side's been grown into this superpower that it's becoming, mate, because there's no any argument now. The people have cottoned on to how much money can be generated from these CMBP prescriptions. So what people are now involved in is it's huge. It's massive. What I'm seeing is these people have got zero knowledge on this plant. What they're now doing is they're now coming into this side of the line, and they're now looking for people who have the knowledge, who've been doing this for 20 years, 30 years, whether it's been growing or extracting or producing oils and things like this. And then getting these people into the fold on a salary and taking the knowledge for a pittance, mate, for a pittance.
Yeah, I've seen, I'm not going to name any people, but as we both know, quite a few people from the scene, from different movements and whatever else, that have been headhunted into employed roles by some of these industry representatives and organizations. And it's frustrating because then the conflict of interest becomes enormous.
Massive. Yeah, it's huge. It's astronomical. The lines have been crossed. The waters have been muddied by that point, because you cannot be seen to be one person on one side of the line and be on the other side at the same time. It just does not work. There has to be one or the other. I'm seeing is more and more people are trying to get involved in the medical side of things, because let's not beat about the bush. There's millions upon millions, tens of millions of pounds to be made every year in it. If you can build the facility and you can gain the relevant licenses and you can get the relevant celebrities on board and get the endorsement and get the support from the general populace, you're going to probably, winging a prayer, you're probably going to start generating some income. It's a very fickle market, but if you've got the right people investing in it, it's going to happen.
100%, yeah. If you've got the startup capital and you know the right people and you can grease the right palms, then yeah, the world is your fucking oyster.
But I think that's what's happening. There's a lot of internal things happening. I don't know. I don't want to comment on it or anything like that. But it's all just very, very fishy, suspicious thinking to me.
I'll comment on it. I think it's all fucked. I think we've long passed the point of. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, of like, everything has got vested interest and everything is for profit. So the people that then speak on any given subject have a vested interest in profiting from whatever it is that they're trying to get you to believe or understand. So
buy cigarettes, buy alcohol, but it's like it's advertising, mate. Now you're seeing adverts for it on the TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're still not saying cannabis. They're still obfuscating around. But then on the other side of it, they've got them lot going, the clinic's celebrating 420. And it's like, the fuck? Yeah. You don't get to co-opt and capture our culture and then take everybody away. Like, because this is the argument I've had of people go, why is the UK? It's probably one of the answers to one of your earlier questions. Why is the UK so behind? It's because they've taken everything from us. We used to be cannabis, and we were the kids with epilepsy. We were the grannies with fucking Alzheimer's or whatever else. We were the people with fucking cancer. We were the young'uns and the vendors. We were everybody. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they created safe havens and went, if you see hemp and CBD, you can have a business and wear the leaf and run around and go, oh, look, we're hemp, and get all the benefit of the culture with none of the fucking risk, and steal that from the movement. Then would happen with the fucking the medicinal sector and everything. And it's just, they've taken then the optics, and I don't mean to speak in such callous terms, but the optics of the frail and the infirm. So now anyone that isn't that, you must be deserving of it. Look at you, you deserve cannabis. But then if you're just a young'un and you can't be like, oh, my pot, bro,
it's antisocial behaviour.
Then you're just a druggie. and that's that two-tier system.
And again, the difference between the two is a piece of paper that you pay for.
Yeah, and they're trying to create this two-tier system. I mean, there came out, there was a report the other day. I still don't know if it's in the public arena, so I can't comment on it for all I really fucking want to. From one of the publications in the UK that was basically saying that up to 50% of the UK populace is eligible for a fucking medicinal prescription. It's like, are we trying in this country to get all of the cannabis consumers funneled through this medicinal thing? Is that what we're actually trying to do? Because they're basically saying to people, and the clinics know themselves. I've heard from, again, one of the former heads of one of the groups involved in this. They know that 90+% of their consumers are fucking smoking it. And they don't give a shit.
But it's only given as advice, though, on your prescription. So, I mean, if you were to get a Codamol for the doctor and take that home and snort it, there's not one thing the doctor can do about that. Once that's in your possession, you can do whatever the fuck you want with that, mate.
I mean, technically, if you then told them about it, they could argue it's an abuse of medication and could withdraw it. But if you don't inform them...
But it's only a guideline. It's advice.
Well, this is the argument that I've had out, and I had this out with a couple of different clinics, various doctors. I've had it out with fucking police about this because no one can give me a straight fucking answer.
No, because they don't know me.
It's recommended. That's all they say is recommendation. Yeah. And the argument I got in with Sapphire about this was, look, if I'm obese and I go to the doctors and the doctor says, you should really try a bit of light exercise, maybe join the gym or whatever. I then go, thank you, doctor. I'll take on your recommendation. If I then don't go to the gym, the police ain't going to come to my door. I'm not going to get in trouble for it. And so it should be the same thing. The issue is under MHRA regulations, under Schedule 2 under the 2001 Misuse of Drugs regulations, states in one fucking sentence at the bottom, the smoking of cannabis is prohibited. Yeah. By who? Under what law?
It's an act. It's an act, mate. It's an act.
It's an illusion. Exactly that. I mean, and we already know there's a lawful defense that, my vaporizer died.
Yeah.
I still need to medicate. I'll roll this up. And
it's like, if you look at the prescription as well, it says recommended daily amount 0.5 grams. How many people do you know that are only having half a gram of flower a day?
Well, yeah, but they're recommending I think the standard guidelines across most of them, they've kind of got to in a standard place with it, is start at 0.1, up to, on average packet, I think it's up to a gram per day, build up slowly. But they're basing that, as you say, on the vaporizer. But then if you're combusting, and a lot of people are used to combusting, you're going to lose a lot from the conversion of combustion is going to destroy some of the cannabinoids, so you're going to have burn off when you're smoking it or whatever.
Yeah.
But to a lot of people, that if that has been their practice, honestly, by the time I'm frustrated and need a joint, just stopping, getting the tray, by the time I'm rolling the roach even and just setting the skin, I'm calmer, putting in the bud, and then it's the practice, and then it's that. Well,
it's the actual process of doing it. It's the ritualisation that has taken over the thousands of years that it's been used for. It's a ritualistic. It's almost a religious experience. People use it in religion, mate. It's a religious experience to some people, and I'm not going to say I could relate to that because I'm not religious in any aspect of that, but I could see why people are calmed by the process, knowing that they've already begun the process of medication. It's almost like a moment for mindfulness and meditation.
Mm-hmm. Entirely. And I think the same is true of then cultivating and consuming your own. I think from taking, I've spoken this on the podcast quite a few times, from taking something that you have produced that is so tiny, so minuscule, and nurturing it through the entire life process of it all, it softens you to nature. I've always said, I've got nearly 50 fucking houseplants falling in that time of year where some are starting to die because I've miswatered them and it was suddenly fucking autumn. I only have these post-growing. It was because I started growing, I was like, maybe what are other plants like? What's it like to have? And when I go into other people's houses and there's no house plants now, it's like, there's something missing. Where's your nature? Bring your outdoors in?
Take
Where
a
is
plant
it?
next time.
Yeah, man.
And I think I think until you've done something from start to finish, whether it be growing tomatoes or anything, I'm not going to advocate anybody growing cannabis, obviously. But if you want to go and experience something and get the rewards, start from a seed, and I always say seed to soul, because once you've done it from seed and you've consumed that product, whether it be fruit, vegetables, or otherwise, it's, regardless of what anybody says, it tastes better, it makes you feel better. It's got that feel-good factor to it, regardless, because you've put your heart and soul into that to nurture it through the 90 days or the 110 days or whatever it may be.
Yeah, and it's microbiome and its sort of biology is built of the same things from your environment. It's your air, it's your water, it's the same pollen or whatever else if you're growing outdoors, or what if it's growing in the same sort of environment. So it's and like I said, the connection to it, I think it connects in an archaic, quite primal way back to something in our ancestry of taking the autonomy.
It's hardwired in the DNA. We're all hunter-gatherers by proxy, mate. That's just who we are.
Yeah, true.
I think it's just as simple as that, really.
Yeah, man. So I think reconnecting with that sense of autonomy and that sense of power it's a powerful thing. And I think that's why a lot of people are looking at homesteads.
You're in control of that from start to finish. Like you say, you forget to water that, it's dead. You overwater it, it's dead. You're in control of, because it's a living thing, you're in control of that life. I think once you see things from the start of the cycle right through to the end of the cycle, and then get to reap the rewards of your hard work and harvest that, it's good for the soul, mate. It's really good for the soul.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree more. I'm just checking my notes here. We've done pretty well. We've covered quite a lot of the topics I already wanted to sort of touch on. So keeping on sort of the private script system for a minute. What have you seen? Obviously, like you've been testing.
I've been testing.
How are you seeing that evolve? Because obviously you're saying like the legacy's going up 2% a year. What are we looking at on sort of the prescription system?
Now, like, you know me, I always remain neutral, and I never try and name drop, and I never try and bind myself legally to anything, because I want to be seen as being impartial. I want to be seen as neutral. I want to be seen like Switzerland, mate. I don't want to get involved in anything. I don't want to be getting dragged into anybody's disputes or any arguments between growers, breeders, or otherwise. Mm-hmm. So when I do these tests, it's always impartial. If people don't want the results posted up or whatever, I'll quite happily just delete them. I'll test them, I'll give them the information that's required, and I'll delete them. But with regards to the medicinal side of things, I've never, ever had a problem with the actual potency of the medication. Now, the medication has always been what it says on the tin. It's always been raw seal. If you're getting a T10, C10, you're getting 10% THC or thereabouts and 10% CBD. Right through the board. I've tested pretty much every single one, apart from all the newer ones that are starting to come through now. They're all testing pretty much bang on. My only gripe is the consistency of the quality. Yes, there's flowers out there now that are very high quality flowers. You'll pay upwards of £13 to £15 a gram for them. Yes, they're nice. They've got a decent terpene profile on them. They test to be exactly what they say they are. But I'm going to say this, and I'm not one for controversy, but I'm going to say it. The quality of the flower that's still being grown in the legacy market is far superior. Far superior. And that's bold for me, because I'm all about the harm reduction and advocate for people to remain on the legal side of things. Whether it's right or you think it's right or wrong, if you cannot put a price on your freedom to have cover. And I always say to people, if you want to have that sort of that protection and sleep soundly in your bed at night, knowing that you can medicate the night before and quite happily get up and drive in the morning, things like that, without having to worry about driving bans, anything like that, it's priceless. It's priceless. It is priceless, but it comes down to the morality of the actual situation, I think. Whether you think it's morally right or wrong, if you've got a family and you're driving around in a vehicle and whatever, your hands kind of being forced to pay these prices. And that's what I do not, that's what is wrong. That's what I do not like about the whole situation. People are not they're being coerced into this state. And like you said earlier, like we're now seeing these adverts on the TV and we're now seeing adverts pop up on your social media feeds and things like this, but they're still not referring to the plant as being cannabis. It's still being skirted around with smoke and mirrors to try and disguise this product. Just put it out there into the mainstream and then everybody knows that this can be obtained. This can be obtained through legal avenues, and I think that'll take away a lot of the stigma that still surrounds the plant by the aging population.
Yeah, I think the more exposure, obviously, the better. I just hope that it creates space parallel to it for discourse of that cannabis is cannabis is cannabis. At the end of the day, that's I think what needs to be pushed. But it does feel like there is an ever increasing gulf between. I mean, it was some director, I can't pull his name out of my ass right now, that I was talking to, who's doing a TV pilot thing in the UK. And I was saying that they almost need to do a joke of the rec user who's trying to get high, but he accidentally keeps getting healed. Like he's got a bad back and he goes, I got some high quality rec weed. And he goes home and he's like, oh shit, I've used it medicinally again. Fuck. All right, I'll go out and get something else and goes to another spot. And then he goes, I slept really well last night. Oh shit. And just because again, it's different in every sense. Like if you then get the pot and you use that and you get benefit from it. I mean, as I argued with Sapphire probably to my detriment, which is probably why I ended up the subject of a team meeting for the clinic, is that I got more benefit from the pot than the product. That their weed was so. But the weed I can access and may or may not grow, was of a much better quality. And I said, look, your pot is basically like that lass being back in Amsterdam. It's safety, I'm safe. But I take the pot away, oh crap! If I get pulled over,
it's completely different.
And it's those consequences, and there's no difference to what is happening there or to the individual. It's the prohibition creates the problematic paradigm, and through the war on drugs, most people now have a fear of the fucking police. You know, I do a lot of miles on the road, and you're driving on the motorway, and everyone's driving sensibly. Yeah, you got your 70s here, 75s, your 80s, the occasional Audi or whatever, doing your 90s. And the road just moves and it flows. As soon as a cop comes off one of the fucking junctions, everyone slams on the brakes and everyone's trying to get in the left lane and everyone's trying to... And the cops fucking know it. Or you see them on the fucking street and everyone changes their behaviour and stops talking. They're not serving the people anymore. They're morally policing. I say for morally policing us because there's no real morality behind it.
Yeah, no, not anymore, mate. But we all know the state that the police are in, whether it be the Met Police, whether it be the police force nationwide. I think the general population know just how fragile policing is at the minute. I was in the car the other day and there was a young lass and a guy standing at the side of the road next to a car that had obviously curved one of its wheels. It had sheared one of the wheels off the front. And that's no words of a lie. I mean, she could not have been any older than 23, 24 years old. Mm-hmm. And you're lucky if this lass was 9 stone, 8 stone, 9 stone. And you're like, what is she going to be able to do if the shit hit the fan? If it came down to it, is she going to be able to run and chase anybody? Is she going to be able to split up a fight? What policing is this lass actually going to be able to do? Because she was tiny, so young, zero experience, so inexperienced, so fresh. It's madness.
I think that's part of what they're doing. I think it's part of the beratement process, subtle psychological warfare that is engaged with by the police, so that you don't respect them in the same way. You don't engage with them in the same way. I'm not being sexist or whatever else, but just even as trying to be a progressive individual and trying to be a decent human and moving through life, you still end up treating people in different ways through previous experience and data that's been collected, through social circumstance, through, different class paradigms and a multitude of other mechanisms. But you then try through that rapport with that, talking with that person to build a rapport. And that is unique to that interaction. But then we're told to respond to them all in the same fucking way. I'm not then saying the big blokey dude should be able to throw his fucking weight around, but the guy that's then going to want to run away from that car that's being pulled over, if he sees, two small lasses, like you say, or whatever, he's thinking, I've got a fucking chance. Whereas if he's then looking at the two fucking big dudes, I'd say in my head, they're quite healthy, slim individuals looking that they could run and chase and they could tackle and take down. And again, I don't want then a hyper-militarized or aggressive police force, but they have to be able to show the illusion. I think it's the whole thing of smacking kids. I don't condone smacking kids, but I grew up in an era where I knew every adult could. Yeah, and that changed the way I approached the adults. Do you know what I'm saying?
And you were never ever lippy either, because you had that respect here, because you knew the consequences.
But it wasn't then like a totalitarianism. It wasn't authoritarian. It was just a general thing of, I don't talk the same way that me and my school friends do when there's their parents around or whatever. Yeah. And you understood that there's different ways to communicate with different people. And again, there's positive things for sending those people to say mental health calls, sending the two fucking big dudes to the guy that's having a depressive meltdown in his house. That's going to escalate the situation. You're putting the optics of aggression and pulling you out of your house. You send you're right, love, we'll get the kettle on. You need that disperse and diversity, and then you need to put them into the right positions for them to be respected in those positions. But if you send then all the football lads that are going to get fucking rowdy from a game after a game or whatever, I'm not generalizing here, but just in terms of the optics and whatever else, you then send the bigger. You don't deliberately go, let's send XYZ. You proportionalize it, and I think that needs to be done. And there's not community cohesion and representation. There's a real problem with diversity and I suppose then the expressions of ideology of the people in the force. The force has become exactly that. They tell us not to use that word anymore, but they are a force. They are the force that is. They've got their own backs. So look at everything that's happened since Wayne Cousins and I can't remember the name of the other fucking major cop. But they're now trying to check their own ranks and trying to sort it out. But they're still holding ranks. Still protecting their own. That guy shot after their own. The armed guys. They shot him, and then like fucking 40 colleagues turned in their arms, and then the government went, "Oh, we'll get the army on the street," and it's like, do we not remember that the past century of fucking history in this country, the police were established by Sir Robert Peel to deny the capability and possibility of the state putting the army on the fucking streets? Like,
but that's just the answer to everything, though. It's like, oh, you want to kind of buck the system? We've got an answer for that. We'll put this in place. We'll put that in place. They've always got that sort of element of control.
The terrorism laws, we had the Patriot Act in the States or whatever else, and those reactionary acts basically meant that, we can paint it as whatever else. So as soon as we got the army involved, you fuck with the army, that's terrorism. Fucking with the police, that's antisocial behavior, whatever. But if we've then got the army out there, and then the army basically, they've got an edict to follow governmental order. You did literally through the chain of command, regardless of the Nuremberg protocols and everything that we were supposed to have fucking learned at the end of the Second World War. Every army general in position follows that hierarchy. And if somebody says jump, you say fucking how high. The policing institutions, at least in a purely legalese, like everything's wonderful world of here's the constructs of the acts, they're appalling to us. We're policed by consent. Huge air quotes for the people just listening there.
Yeah, massive air quotes.
But we can't now withdraw our consent anymore. And they're then adapted all of these acts through the lockdowns and everything else to ensure that they've got just enough control. And that's all they need for a threat of it. Yeah. If enough of us then don't stand down from the police authority, they can bring in the other. And they can be justified in it because these are terrorist acts. I mean, just look at the rhetoric that we're seeing around, as I keep saying to people, like, really think of what you're fucking saying and you're regurgitating when you're going, oh, fuck the boats, send them back, regardless of your own political stance or whatever, they are fucking human beings at the end of the day. Regardless of any stance of what we should and shouldn't fucking do. What they do to them today, they will do to us tomorrow. Guaranteed. We've seen that countless times through history, that if we don't protect the vulnerable, all they're doing is dividing us into smaller groups. All right, we got rid of them. Sweet, that's next. Who's next? Oh, we'll get rid of, yeah, we're not them, so we'll not help them. We're not them, so we won't help them.
Did you hear about that thing in Canada? I think it was 2 weeks ago. Now, everybody's experiencing like unseasonably warm weather and stuff at the minute. There was a bit of a heat wave in one of the states in Canada, and people were sitting in the houses and it was like 28 or 29 degrees indoors. And these people were trying to put on their air conditioning units, but the government had actually turned off the smart controls to turn on their aircon units. So it's already happening, this new order.
With this smart stuff, it's whether you believe the conspiracy or not. I mean, what is it? It's self-monitoring.
Everything has a GPS stick in it now. Now, I won't go into it too much. I know quite a lot about the new smart technology and things like this. Everything can be accessed remotely without any PIN or anything whatsoever. Anything, it can all be accessed remotely. If you know the serial number on that device, you can get into that device's memory to see consumption, to see data, to see pretty much everything. They can actually monitor people's movements within the household through your Wi-Fi router now, just based on the signals coming back and the RFD signals coming back to the monitor.
The mapping is scary. There was one of the companies did a presentation on stage, and they basically went, "Oh, we did this and this," and it shows the live time movements of people just through a basic fucking modem. It wasn't
how many people are in the house, if they've got pets, how many times you go to the bathroom, when they're in the bath, when they're taking a shower, things like that. They can pretty much map your day-to-day life through your Wi-Fi router now. So for all these people that are worried about messages on social media and your phone's putting suggestive advertising and things on it, that is the least of your worries, guys. That is the least of your worries.
Yeah, they're the allowed illusory problems, the things that we're allowed to see and worry about because they're doing far other things. It's like I've said to people for a while, it's surveillance isn't necessarily our problem anymore. We are so hyper surveilled and everything is so fucking aware. And as you say, we're mapped, controlled. What we've arrived at now is not even coercion. It's conditioning. So we get up in the morning, you touch your phone. They've decided how you're going to live your day. They've decided how you're going to behave by the things that they show you.
We'll give you this ad. This kind of breakfast.
Even your friends' updates and everything. That's why they got rid of the chronology of on stories and everything else of different things. It's like even your stories, say on Instagram. Yeah, you like, say, look at somebody's 2 days in a row or whatever, and it puts that as a primary one or whatever. But then all the other, it's a random fucking show. And then some people will hide it for fucking 48 hours and you won't get to see that person's, even if you click on the page. There's so many different fuckeries and it's so hyper personalized with what they can do to change and modify. Like at the peak of doing the live streams on Facebook, me and Facebook had like a 6-month fucking war where they just removed the video option. So my menus were edited. So if I signed in on one account, I could show our videos, update this. And then so they got rid of the video option. I found a way around that using like MetaSuite. And then they went, oh, this codex, this doesn't work. So then I changed the format. And then they went, oh, this format doesn't work anymore. And then there was a thing where I couldn't tag anything. And they just kept changing, just constantly a thing. They're just not. And it was like, how the fuck? But they've got whole divisions of people that just tweak the blue. Literally, you'll have seen it yourselves, guys, at home. When someone's like, is that F changed? Is the spacing moved? Is this... And they're tweaking it, and it's just in the measuring going, oh, we've got 4.6% more engagement, and all of those and again, we think that's advertising, and that's the big problem. No, that's the mechanism to fund their ideological goal, which, like I said, is to program us all. So all of us think I'm a hyper individual. Think of how many people you know that have grown out their beard, shaved their fucking hair, got a VW van, are suddenly interested in climbing fucking mountains. And do you know what I mean? Everyone's got a fucking XL bully dog in a certain part of the scene. It's the illusion of individuality. And so we're all trying to be the same archetype of each, and we think we're being unique, but it's not. It's the pre-sold presets designed for us by the masters above to then go, oh, well, this group will then, we've determined that through our sociological and anthropological studies that these will interact well with this group. So what we'll do is we'll use taxation and whatever else and moving borders for fucking constituencies and rearrange these people here and create this cohesion, and they'll have this political opinion as a consequence. Then we'll do this with these, and they're just gerrymandering our lives. And we're all going, I'm unique. The best thing any of us can do is throw your phone in the fucking house, sprint as far away you can into the fucking woods, and just breathe for an hour. Just that is the closest you will get to being human in this digital age, because everything else is so artificial. Yeah, literally sit with that fucking plant, even if it is in that artificial environment, you sit with it, and she's just beautiful. She just gives you this energy and this, you feel connected to the source, to what it is to be human. Whereas these little concrete cages, man, the angles even start to get me.
That poison box, watching the poison box every day, being told what you're supposed to do and what everybody else's opinion is on the matter. You're not getting news anymore, mate. You don't get news anymore. You just get biased ideology. Before it used to be information, and you make up your own sort of mind on it. Now you're being told the narrative as it is. I was actually laughing today. Now, I'm not going to speak too much about on what's going on in the Middle East at the minute, but I actually laughed today because it happens in everyday life more than what people actually like to admit that it happens. Now, they were talking about this conflict, and it's always Israel and Hamas. It's never Israel and Palestine. So these people are being misrepresented straight from the off. They're already being seen as this. Well, let's be honest. They're calling them Islamic extremists, insurgents. They're calling them all sorts, mate. But they're never ever being described as Palestinian. And it happens in day-to-day life as well, more than what we like to think. We always put these labels on people subconsciously, I think. Mm-hmm. And it's like when people are listening to that, they're taking this in and they're hearing this, and like, how many people just take that and never ever question that?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much of an issue that becomes propaganda from all sides, because the extremes become so far apart. And as we spoke of before, with the false narratives, you're not allowed to talk about the nuance in the middle. And the in between. Yeah, so there's a really interesting video came out. I can't remember where the guy was from. I think, looking at his garb, he was probably like UAE or that sort of Saudi Arabia, that kind of side of Islam. And he basically was doing like a history lesson of what happened with the Romans and the Israelites prior to that. And so there was not a country formed as Israel, but there was a region in which the Jews had a presence in the land. Obviously, it's in a huge part of the history with Constantinople, I can never say his fucking name, sacking Rome, and then the end-ish of the Roman Empire, as it were. There. And then the evolution, and then the Balfour Agreement in 48 and everything that happened there. And the conflict ever since has always been one-sided. For all, Hamas have committed acts of whatever else, but in terms of then it's controversial, but in terms of like a collective genocide or whatever, the open-air prison of Gaza, basically after the Balfour Agreement was signed, I think it's 200 and... God, I should really try and get this right, but I can't read that off the thing I'm trying to look at in my head. It's 200 and something, no, it was 148, I think it was, villages were sacked almost immediately, and then they stripped the West Bank and Gaza with the two. Basically, there was a few other little territories and regions that were then pushed back through various different conflicts over the year when Lebanon and whatever else got involved, and there was issues with it. Yemen were involved at one point with the conflict. I'm trying to pull the history out of my fucking arse here, but basically, then when this happens, and obviously, you've got intervention allegedly from Iran and other state actors. But it's, as you say, the painting one as the other. It's they get to create this false binary narrative. You are the good thing that we like, or you're the bad thing. And they get to paint and use whatever language. So then like fucking Israel, there's already fucking several videos up that are showing them again using phosphorus. That is a war crime. They're indiscriminately targeting fucking ambulances, fucking hospitals. Like there was a whole fucking parade recently for the volume of press people on both sides that are just getting fucking whacked. There is no honor in war. There is no good side. We're the good side. They're the Nazis. They're the bad guys. We're the good guys.
Yeah, there's no winners, mate.
It's all so much more fucking complicated. And that isn't, again, to excuse anybody on either side. My heart breaks for any individual stuck in that fucking region.
Yeah.
But they're fighting because of their ideologies, their belief. But one side is fighting for its fucking survival.
Yeah.
Whereas the other is fighting to improve its condition in life and to take more. And to, frankly, there is only one that a lot of Palestinians are not Islamic. A lot of Palestinians are Christian. A lot of Palestinians are fucking Jewish. A lot of Jews don't support Israel. The whole thing is so complicated. You can't just say that one this, one that. I mean, the whole group of the Orthodox Jews massively support traditional idea of two-state policy. It's not an either or. It needs a fucking nuanced conversation, frankly, with people that belong in that conversation. You and I don't, but we talk about it because it's the kind of thing that could happen anywhere at any point. It's the same rhetoric and language and trickery they would use with us. We would always be the good guy. If somebody fucked with us, we could literally nuke another country and we'd be like, oh, we fucking beat the whoever. Go us. We'd have a parade. And it'd be like, no, we've done a bad thing.
Not trying to like belittle the situation or anything. Like trying to get back onto what we were saying before. Like they've been mislabeled and they've been labelled as this terrorist organisation or whatever. Now let's not get into the finer details of things. It's kind of exactly the same in our sort of day-to-day life and the aspects of what we do. Like we are, let's be honest, the underground legacy marketer. The Hamas here, we are being mislabeled, mate. We are the driving force of this medicine. We are the ones that have the knowledge. We are the ones that own the rights to this. We are the ones that need to take the stances and take the power back, mate, because it's getting to the point where these bigger pharmaceutical companies are pulling the rug from underneath their feet, and there's going to be nothing we can do about it. Once you get to the point where they're producing this they already are producing it in such a level that it's taxable to the millions. So once they get to the volumes where they have, like say, 50% of the UK consuming medicinal flower, and they've managed to get the price down to around £5 to £6 per gram, then what is going to stop the masses just then going forward and paying for this? There's nothing that's... It's about... what I'm trying to say is, in a roundabout fashion, mate, it's about time to like fight for what you believe in as well with regards to this. Like, we're talking about all this shit that's going on everywhere else, not that shit. I'm not trying to belittle the situation, all this other stuff that's going on in the world at the minute, mate. There's a lot of turmoil going on at the minute, and all we can do ourselves, mate, is look after ourselves. Because we're not getting any help from anybody else.
But I think that's the weird thing. I think it's something that was installed into us after the lockdowns and everything else. Is we've become everyone is now, main character syndrome. Everybody is, there's a loss of a respect for the social spaces. The social contract, I think, has been broken. There isn't an etiquette of how to handle it ourselves in public and whatever else. And people just being cringe and embarrassing and just using others as props in content and background characters to their lives. And it's just, it's disgusting. And we've just lost it
every day. Yeah, you see it on Instagram every day, on Facebook every day. It's about using other people to gain leverage for yourself. And it's why are we not trying to lift these other people up? Why are we not trying to raise these people?
Because what they installed into us, what was inculcated into our consciousness during the lockdowns, was scarcity more than ever. The idea that there's only a few of these and you've got to be quick. Look at what happened with us with toilet roll and shit in this country. You know what I mean? Like, Christ, or pasta the first few months, and it was like pasta was gone. You could not get fucking pasta anywhere because everyone was, we're going to fucking little store longer, da da da. And I think there is this mechanism in us that we're basically being told now, whatever side you kind of listen to, the world's going to end. There is no future. There is no future. And I think the rise of traditionalism, people wanting to homestead and wanting to like get off grid and etc., is continuing to rise. And I say this as somebody who feels that yearning as well. Yeah. Is this idea that the future, every iteration of it gets worse. the promise, you and I, very similar age, we came from analog into digital, and the promise of that, like stepping up in the PS2, and you were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, look at that.
You were like, it was like God, and you were like, all this expansion that's going to happen. One day this will connect to the internet, and one day, and you were looking at it. And I remember driving back with my mum from Blockbuster and being, one day it'll all be on the telly. There'll be none of this. It'll all just be in the air, all in the ether. Yeah. And so we had all of this promise, and look what happened. They just fucked it all. They took it all. They got richer and richer, and all the technology. And same with social media. We had like Bebo and MySpace, and the worst problem you had with MySpace was figuring out your top 8 and dealing with the politics of your friends going, why am I number 3? You haven't seen Dave all week. I've seen you 3 times this week. It's that kind of shit. It wasn't then about the algorithms manipulating you or what. You had to. You were self-guided. We had things like rotten.com. Like, Jesus Christ, the damage we did to our little brains.
Think of how many people are still suffering for PTSD for watching things on that, and a few, what was the other one, Ogreish and all these other things. My God, mate.
I kind of think I prefer that, though, in a way. I'm not saying it should be like the algorithm then giving it to you, but everything should be available, and if you so choose to go to that space, whereas now you click on the internet, and you're guided. 90% of people don't go to fucking websites. Even like to get to, and I'm guilty of it. I'll click and open my browser if I'm then on Chrome or whatever. I'll just open the Google thing and type in Facebook or whatever. I won't go facebook.com. And so we live through the search engine. So if that search engine then decides it wants to send me to this link one time, like I bought my visa when I was in America and I paid for the fucker. And I was like, what the fuck? And it turns out when you Google it, people have paid for adverts to get ahead of the government link, the free government link. There's these paid services that then interject, and you go through it all, and you're obviously in a rush and you're scared, and at the end of it, it's like, pay $10 or whatever. You're like, fuck's sake, fine, whatever. And you don't question it. And so
damned.
Yeah, so and they support that. These systems support it. So that's just on one little mechanism. Imagine that, as you say, expanded out. And that's just with the smartphone as is. Before too long, everything will be smart. The Internet of Things is still the end goal of Silicon Valley. They want your toaster to knock on you. They want to know fucking everything about you.
It's like my TV. I can switch my TV on by talking to it.
Yeah, it's audio activated stuff scared me. Like when the Xbox first came out, the Xbox One, I think it was, and they were talking about it was integrated, it was Connect, was going to be, you had to have Connect attached. And I was like, all right, fine, don't care. Don't want it. And then they started sending a bundle without Connect, and they're like, it doesn't need to be connected. And I was like, okay. But then I've got a smartphone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even
so what's the point?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and you can't kind of win with it. Do you know what I mean? So you don't want to then live your life of going, I'll put this in, which I have done actually. To be fair, when I've met some serious people, I've put phone, like technology goes in a different room.
Yeah, to one side, yeah.
But you can't do that every fucking day. You still need it. I've found my old Nokias, and I want to get onto that. But then all of the benefit of the phone. What if I want to take a picture? What if I need maps? What if I want to listen to Spotify? What if I
Yeah. And see, like, the thing for me, like, for what I do and stuff, the technology for me is so important because I'm always trying to see what's next. The next thing for me is like an HPLC machine, and that for me is just not realistic. It's not realistic by any stretch of the imagination. I cannot wheel this around like a teacher pulling in the TV at the school on the big desk with the dollies on it. I cannot be doing that. It's just
with the right funding, you could put it in a van and
let's be honest, I probably could if I really wanted to, but it comes down to finances, and it comes down to investments from myself, not just financially, but time as well. Time for me is the most important thing at the minute. When I'm running these samples take time now. When I'm running distillate and oils and things like this, they have to go through decarboxylation processes. They have to be a certain viscosity to fill the test slides, etc. It takes time. What people don't realise is this is my free time. I'm giving this to the masses. Mm-hmm. And I think it's time for everybody to kind of come together and just try and organise within the community just some sort of decimalised testing, whether it be for minor cannabinoids and toxicity or pesticides. Like these things, there's machines out there that can be purchased for these, but it costs money. It costs money. People expect everything for free now, and it's just, I'm at the point where to take this next step, it's going to have to be a massive investment into technology, into some sort of device that can do all of this. And for me, it's quite daunting because I'm not going. Well, I'm not willing to invest upwards of £20,000 in an HPLC machine. It's just, for me, it's just not reality. But for the community UK wide, it's very, very accessible, probably very affordable as well. If everybody wanted some sort of uniform testing, then yeah, it's up to the people now, mate. Really,
it's
like
Sorry,
I was doing a lot of testing like a while back, obviously for like synthetics and things like that, testing for like K1 and spice and all the other nasties that were going into it. I was even getting like opiates and vape cartridges and things like that for a while, coming back on the opiate dips, things like that. But an HPLC machine would be able to print out exactly what's in everything, right down to the atomic levels, right down to the minutest of particles. So it's probably going to be beneficial for everybody in that aspect. But why? Who makes me the testing man? I've kind of done that myself, haven't I?
Yeah, you've kind of painted yourself into a corner there, brother. But I think I agree. There needs to be like a decentralized thing, and it's something that I think it was me and Dr. Callie Seaman were chatting about several months ago, and I was saying that what we need is access to ubiquitous testing and creating data that then goes, our stuff is no fucking different. If we could have enough of a wide data set that we're also then testing all the script and all the air quote street stuff, once we account for the variables of gangs and dickheads and sprayed fucking, in air quotes industrial hemp, low THC imported cannabis with like terps, this whole thing with like HHC and fucking Delta 8 and stuff being sprayed on the same flower, as you say, spice. And once you account for those variables and those elements, the rest of it, I reckon we will have a stronger fucking efficacy for.
Oh, mate, before people knew that I was testing like the extracts and things like that, it was in a big way, mate. There was a lot of really bad products out there, oils that had more like isopropyl alcohol in them than THC levels. Some coming back with 3 and 4% THC. That's supposed to be oil, mate. You're supposed to be getting things.
How do you get some at that low?
the people have just not done the process behind it, and they're selling this product as a medicine. That to me, that's why I do this. I do it for the harm reduction side more than anything. I don't do it for the THC levels. I don't do it for the CBD levels. I do it so I know that the products that are being made available at these events or at these parties, festivals, whatever it may be, is what it says it is. You then need to make that informed decision whether you want to consume it based on pesticides, heavy metals, etc., etc. I'm only giving you a rapid presumptive test to tell you what it is and what the percentage of the cannabinoid is, whether it's THC, CBD.
And that's the best first step that we can hope to offer. Like you say, in Thailand with an exploding market as is, that they haven't even got that first step. You've then got on the other side of it in the States, lab shopping and lab fraud.
Yeah, exactly that, mate. I didn't want to touch too much on the ins and outs yet, but yeah, I know certain growers in Canada that have sent their flowers away for testing. They send around 2 or 3 ounces away for testing, and they get the results back, and then they send another batch away for testing with a bigger amount of money, and then they get the results thereafter. So it's like you say, you can buy certain certificates and certain labels. I've tested products that have come with these inflated labels on them and these claims for the COAs. And when you're getting the certificates of analysis with them and you're putting them next to the HPLC printouts, you can guarantee if you do a third-party test on them, they're miles apart. Some dispensaries in America had a 300% difference in the potency of the flower.
Again, it's because the market is still so nascent and so new that people still think that's good. Highest THC is good. It's good. It'll fuck you up more. It's can't wait for it to evolve more like alcohol. Because could you imagine that's what alcohol was like? People were just queuing up and be like, "I want that fucking absinthe. You got any absinthe? No, let's go into the shop. Let's get some absinthe."
You see the thing, like these high percentage alcohols are a new thing, mate. These have not been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. We were drinking beers and wines that were around 4 to 6%. If you were lucky, you maybe get one at 8%. Right up into the early, say, mid 1800s. I say mid 1800s until they realised you could actually start distilling the mash that's left over and make a super concentrated alcohol. The super concentrated levels of alcohol in beverages is a very, very new concept in the grand scheme of things. We've been drinking mead and beers and lagers and ciders and perries for hundreds and hundreds of years.
That's what I was trying to figure out here. It was the Irish are one of the oldest producers of a distilled spirit in whiskey in the 1200s. And yeah. I do remember reading somewhere, this is going to sound fucking crazy, and I've never been able to find it ever since, but it's something I've quoted before. There was a letter that was sent from the fucking Vatican to monks in Ireland telling them to stop consuming magic mushrooms. And there may be something related to them going, well, all right, if we can't have the fucking magic mushrooms, we get fucked up on the whiskey. But again, you're right. So there was a point where beer was safer than water. And so it was, you fermented and we produced the hops and grains into the various forms of alcohol, and we filtered it at different points. And it was considered that you've purified it, and it just so happened to have alcohol in it. So
the ideology of having these spirits and these high alcohol drinks is a relatively new concept, mate. It's not as if if it's been there forever. It's not. It's just happened. It's very, very fresh in the grand scheme of things. Like I know growing up. Certainly, like when I grew up in the countryside and in Scotland, so when we grew up, alcohol was probably given to you around teenage years, and you maybe had a shandy or whatever at a party or sat in the corner away kind of thing, and it was never ever frowned upon. But I would say that leads you on to drinking spirits and things like that. It leads you on to drinking harder liquors. But it's mad. It's mad when you think about the lawfulness of the two products, where you look at alcohol and then you look at cannabis. And you look at one, the amount of people and the amount of money it costs the NHS and the actual the infrastructure of the UK, how much it actually costs the UK per year compared to a plant that you can produce yourself. Well, let's be honest, you can produce alcohol yourself, but it's probably easier to grow a plant, I would say.
Well, yeah, it's probably an equal sort of time processing because you need to like allow the yeast to ferment and whatever else.
But what makes one lawful and one makes the other unlawful is the fact that they're able to give you a set measure of a liquid and tax it at a set price for over the year. So when it comes to the budget next year, there'll be a rise in alcohol. There's an extra 2% VAT. You got 2 pence VAT onto the pint or whatever, and a pint costs this much. Now, when you're growing a plant and you're growing something at 18%, and then the next one that you grow might be 22%, and the next one might be 20%, there's a variation in that, and it becomes difficult to then put a price tag on it.
With this variation in the crop, as we know, like the bottom to the top, the popcorn buds at the bottom are going to have a different cannabinoid profile to the main cola on the top of the plant. And so there's inconsistency in the batches themselves, even if from clones and whatever. If this one was closer to a fan, this one was further, that was closer to a light. There's so many other variables. Whereas you're right, like alcohol, they've worked over time to standardize the space. So then our whiskey is going to be like what? 40% wine's going to be like 12%, a beer is going to be like 4 or 5, an ale probably closer to a fucking 7, 8 or whatever it is. And so there's a general kind of understanding of that, whereas cannabis is so fluctuating and ever evolving. It's not like the same hops that are grown for one fucking beer is the same genetic across the fucking board, because they need to standardize that recipe to get it to be the same at the end of the day. Whereas cannabis, we don't want that, because unlike, say, alcohol, you could drink Budweiser all the time and you're not suddenly going to get a tolerance to it. Like, Budweiser's not affecting me. I'm going to go drink Guinness and be like, whoa, fucking hell.
Yeah, yeah.
Cannabis is so different like that in terms of its tolerance or its appeal. You want different things at different times.
Yeah.
You know, you want to sit out and maybe have like a margarita or some shit. If you're out a fancy fucking dinner, it's really warm outside. You fucking sat with a plate of fancy, or you just with fucking lads, you're gonna neck some fucking beers, or you with the missus and you having some wine with dinner, or what? It's different for different situations, and the same is true of weed. And they're not going to be able to shove us. They're trying to almost shove us into the alcohol box without giving us the freedom and the loose regulations of alcohol. Because if they did, we'd end up with, Thailand for a while, or the Wild West of the States for a bit before legislation really kicked in. But then the market will settle.
Yeah, I think it was the same with the sort of the medicinal side of the industry way back when I first started getting my prescription. It was very much like, there wasn't a lot of option. The products were there. They were a standardized product. You got what you were paying for, but like you say, you were just getting one product. You were just getting the Budweiser.
Yeah.
And that's all you were getting, kind of thing. Now it's evolved. It's evolving. They're starting to realise that these terpenes and these different cultivars are really important to actually bringing forward different kind of effects. Like you say, you get different effects off it. Like if you're going to be smoking something like this, like a strain like Blue Dream, very, very medicinal strain, hyper medicinal strain, and then you're going to go and smoke something like, I'm going to say, I was trying to avoid it, but you go and have like something like a dog or something like a Gorilla Glue, something like that, and it absolutely locks you to the couch. It's like it's like the difference between having a cognac and then having like maybe like you say, a lager or a wine or something like that, and we're having a nice sort of mellow Blue Dream kind of strain. That's nice sort of level, sort of high that you get off it. Or you can go and have two whiskies or a double cognac, and then go and it's equivalent to smoking like something like a Star Dog or whatever else, and it absolutely comatoses you. It comes down to personal preference at the end of the day. But I will say the medicinal side of things is improving massively. They're starting to get a lot more variety, a bigger sort of variety of flowers that people know the strain names of now as well. It's not just
they're not trying to hide it anymore.
Yes, it's not just like C10, T10 or flaws or whatever. They're not putting this almost misleading labeling on it. It's now being marketed as a T20C1, and then it's giving you a name after it, so you can then reference what you're consuming, and then you can make that informed decision whether that's going to be good for you or not. It's kind of giving a bit of power back to the consumer or the patient, let's call them, at the end to an extent, but you're still having to pay for this privilege.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously benefits them. We benefit backhandedly, but they benefit because then we can Google what it is or go to, shout out MedBud or any other, resource and look at these things and then go, actually, here's the terpene profile. They're not allowed to sell us on the terpene profile because we're only prescribed it as an off-label medication for a percentage ratio of THC to CBD, depending on medication. Yeah, so it was told to me by one of the prescribers. Cannabis is a cannabinoid delivery system for two primary cannabinoids. Everything else is a contaminant, including the terpenes. So it's a way they increase their market share and people can access them. Well, cool. But actually what that then does for the optics, if you start talking to the distributors and you start talking to the fucking dispensaries and you go, where did you buy this? Where did this Hellfire come from? This Gorilla Glue, this whatever. Oh, this is from Canada. And okay, you go and you look at the producer and you go, well, this was a recreational product. They've just split it in half and go, actually, we sell it over here. We make more money. Yeah, and that's what the whole GMP and EU GMP thing is. It's about the packaging, not the fucking product. It's an illusionary thing. Yeah, and they've got us tricked into believing it, but it's...
Like, I was involved in this process way back. I think it was 2018 or very early in 2019 when I was first getting prescription flower. And like you say, there was no terpenes. It was just flower. It was just... Mate, some of it was, I'm not going to go into too much detail because there was a lot happened and I had to be very careful with what I was releasing and the statements that I was making and things like that. But back then, it was criminal. It was just a money-making scheme. That's all it was. I've very nearly exposed a few very high-profile companies now in the market, and then had to change dispensary because they would not dispense said medication after I'd done third-party tests on it. The quality of the product since that day, has rapidly increased, mate.
And this is it. We need a mechanism by which to hold them accountable because they're uneducated. They're given a basic education program, which is basically a sales pitch, the same as if you went to go sell cars and sit you in a room and go, this is what we do, and this is the language we use, and this is how we do it, and how you should approach X, Y, Z. And the disrespect that's created by the paradigm that we're then told, I see it constantly. I saw some of the other day, I didn't click on it on YouTube, and it was one of these news affiliate programs, and they were, this is our cannabis expert. And she sat there, and I looked at it, and I said, doctor, whatever, and I clicked down and read a credential, and I was just like, fuck off.
Does she
like exactly.
Does she consume cannabis?
But that's the thing of what they're trying to do is, again, it's this further up, like pushing away and obfuscation of our community. We're just demons and bad guys and druggies and villains, because otherwise you'd be a good person and be a patient.
Yeah.
So what do you choose? Do you support teenagers stabbing each other on bikes? Or do you want these doctors and, they're buying their second house and paying for their yacht? And it's and the backwards sense of it is I'm morally still fucked with this because I need to continue according to fucking NHS to continue on with the private prescription while I'm on my autism assessment, which is a 3 fucking year waiting list. So I'm basically told that I've got to then pay a racket and fucking protection money to this fucking clinic for the right to be kept on a list. It's a fucking it's an insanity the way that they've set these systems up.
It all comes down to the monetization of it, mate. Before anybody knew anything about the legal access to flower and things like that, everybody was happy and everybody was just getting on. And now that this has come about, it's probably another reason, like we touched on earlier, probably why there's so much division and infighting now as well, mate. Because they're putting this, this secondary choice there now. They're making it, I wouldn't say easier, because it's not just as easy, well, it is just as easy as to call them up and book a consultation and things like that now. So it probably is easier to have it delivered to your door without having to go and see David in the street or Mikey around the corner kind of thing. It's kind of getting that way, and I think people are starting to realise, and maybe that's why there's so much infighting, because they're trying to get whatever's left of the pie. I don't know, mate. I'm just assuming. I'm just thinking out loud.
No, I think you're right. Like I kind of very loosely alluded to before, I think there will be revelations which I think will reveal why there is these divisional narratives and where they came from. The whole skunk psychosis myth, and there's so much that, again, I wish I could speak to at this moment, but it's somebody else's pride and joy, and I've just been lucky enough to be able to see a draft version of it, and from what I've read of it, I think they're onto something, and I can't wait for that to be in the public eye, and hopefully for us to have a conversation, because I think it'll reunite the people that are not part of this cabal, that are not on the inside of this conspiracy. Once we can, show what this thing is, everyone else that isn't will be like, guys, fucking, that's the enemy. That's the bad thing. Let's fucking deal with that. And as you said, I think testing is vitally important. We need to figure out a way, whether it's like some sort of charity or some sort of commission, it's set up as like a research thing with a university or whatever, so they've got licensing or
opportunity to have this accessible, whether it be through funding, whether it be through sponsorship, or even a crowdfund or something like that. I think it's imperative to have it for the consumers that are unable to afford the private prescriptions, because these private prescriptions are not cheap. If you are the person who is living from paycheck to paycheck, you are unable to go and spend £300-400 on your medication every month because you want to buy food to put in your stomachs. It's if you have a spare £20 or £30, £40, whatever it is these days, at the end of the week, you can then go and buy yourself some said medication.
Which we have a culture of ticky as well, and things like you go and buy eights. So like someone will just live off eights, and so then they've got it for a bit, and then I'll run down, I'll arrange to see whoever, and even like getting out and socializing with them, that is a positive thing. I suppose it depends on your relationship with dealers and how you're connected. If you've only got those criminals that we alluded to before, and you've got shit supply, like I mean, we had a whole conspiracy of individuals in Durham that were working with a taxi company, and they were basically just running around fucking weed and all sorts, and they were providing glass sprayed cannabis, like fucking ground up, smashed up glass sprayed onto the fucking bags because of the weight that it adds. But you literally grit it, smoke it, and you get your gums would bleed slightly. You'd be like, what the fuck? And you try and rub it off and you'd hurt yourself. It's like, so there's those, if you're there with your only fucking people, I understand that this is hyper attractive. But then if you've got, say, you can produce your own, if you've got a good system and you're relatively well adept, and say you're using LEDs and making smart of your space, you can get your ounces down to like 30 quid.
Yeah.
The clinics will never touch that. Neither will the street dealers either that are going to charge you whatever, even if you start buying like really low quality album boxes.
And that's where like more on your sort of narrative for the decriminalisation of the plant is it holds itself up, because if it's decriminalised, you're able to provide your own medication at a very small cost to society. In fact, you're actually contributing to society by paying the extra electricity bills.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I argue to people. A home grower is a better taxpayer than the biggest 10 corporations in this country. You pay more 100%. Tax than Google, Amazon, fucking Apple, Microsoft. Because, if you're doing it right, and I will ethically always say to fucking people, pay your fucking electric. You're growing for your own autonomy or whatever else, but if you don't do that, you fall into their paradigm. If you're then a criminal, you're willing to break other fucking laws. I will admit I break laws, but I break rational laws for moral reasons in a way that I would happily defend myself in a court of law. Yeah, you know what I mean? To touch wood, I wouldn't fucking want to have to, but I'm prepared to. And as part of that, when I then have to touch wood, if I ever have to, I don't want to have to try and justify stealing electric or any other proliferal potential crime. I can then stand on my morals and on my argument of going, no, this is, why I've chosen to do this.
Yeah. As mental. And it all comes down to this, the two words again is lawful and unlawful.
And it's, when you understand what lawful and unlawful is, who gets to dictate that? Who gets to benefit from that? And again, this is part of this narrative that I think is going to start to come out about the licensing and the regulation and a small cabal of individuals that are responsible for the handicapping of the industry in the UK. And since we're post-Brexit, for all thankfully, we're still under the European Human Rights Convention, which should help us out with some court cases and stuff that we've got moving forward. But it means that whatever happens in the bloc of Europe, we're going to be left behind. And unless we get a progressive government that goes, is it not better for us to get ahead of Europe and then sell into them and become a strong ally and fill all the land with weed, or wait for them to do it and on a scale not be able to produce our own? Because we had that happen at the end of the... not Victorian era. Who the fuck? Which queen was it? My royal history is terrible. First Victoria the First. So we got reliant on fucking Russian, Ukrainian, fucking what's that other bloody former Eastern Bloc country that I can't think of right now? Romanian low THC cannabis. And so rather than, because we had a history of domestic production for quite a fucking long time. Yeah. And then the more the colonies we colonized and the more of the empire we built, we then diversified that to other regions. And then we became dependent upon it then when these regions became autonomous, or obviously through global criminalization starting in like the 1840s. But prior to that, these were resources that give people trading power. And I think that we have to then look at this thing of going, look, globalization is over in terms of resource sharing. Most countries are now, over the past 12 months, going, we need to produce everything at home. Yeah. Everything is on a knife edge. At any point, the waterway's shut. At any point, the port's shut. Like we saw during lockdown. Like the only things that were allowed to kind of just drag through was international food trade. But even then, we started to lose a lot of resource. Like not just us, but I mean collective.
They never had any problem like supply of masks and things like that for all these government contracts. So, mate.
There was a hell of a lot of fucking profit. I mean, the one thing I've kept an eye on the conferences for Labour and whatever. The one thing I've heard them say that actually was like, I'll agree with that. Is that obviously it's a promise, a pledge, so take that at face fucking value. But they were saying of creating like a COVID fraud investigation unit and looking at this because, I mean, what is it, Gary It's Gary does economics. I can't think of his last name, but he always talks about there's somewhere in the region of £700 million was printed and released through fraudulent contracts and everything else. That first track and trace, what was that? Nearly 35 million. And it's just, we've just had to figure, well, shut up, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. It's like,
and they wonder why the interest rates are going up and inflation's taking place, because they printed nearly £50 billion worth of money.
It's wages. It's you people wanting raises. It's like, what do you mean? We've had a 10% plus some industries, 15% plus real terms loss from their increase going up less than the fucking the inflation. It's and they know these mechanisms, and it's when you know that they control all of these things, we then plug cannabis into that. I think you can understand why there's a lot of people that are just hyper paranoid, like they see these posh individuals, frankly, because that's what it is. It's a gentrified boys club, rich Etonians and all these fucking things. You look at people like Jacob Rees-Mogg are invested in fucking cannabis. Did you know what I mean? But then we're still the druggies and the wrong-uns, yet they're fucking making money from this. They're making deals that'll set up generational wealth.
Yeah, it's smart. And see, the thing is, we're too far past it now, mate. We're institutionally corrupt now at that level, and these people are only passing laws and putting bills forward and changing acts to suit themselves and to suit their own gains. We always talk about GW Pharmaceuticals and Theresa May and what went on there. That is the biggest example of just how corrupt the Tory government was, mate. Look at how many people are now sitting in their big country houses with their log burners going, not got any air source heat pumps or renewable energy panels. They're not worried about their energy bills, mate. They've made hundreds of millions of pounds through the league or through the legalisation of medicinal cannabis in the UK.
Yeah, and they're set to make all the more because, as I keep trying to say to people, we are not America, and the mechanism of the House of Lords and the corruption that is in place there means the first law passed the post in this country will be the only law we will have for 50 years because our politicians, the Prime Minister's retiring. Here's my 50 people I want to fill the House of Lords with so they'll protect the laws and the acts and the assets that we fucking set in place. And then it becomes hereditary and their son then takes over and they've been brought up by their parent to only protect their assets, and it's just a vicious blood sport for them, and it's look, we got more than you. Let the other guys in, because frankly, you look at Blair, it's a fucking war criminal. Making $100+ grand talking about fucking peace around the fucking world. It's an atrocity. The whole thing, it's a pageantry. But as you say, it's so corrupted that anybody that gets into that position that seeks to be of opposition, they're not. They're just lying to us. Because if they were actual opposition, they'd been fucking weeded out. Yeah.
It's for self-gain, mate. There are probably a few, let's not tar everybody with the same brush. There's probably a few independents out there and a few on either side of the fence, whether it's left wing, right wing, or up the middle. There are probably a few people out there who have their constituencies at heart and they're trying to do the best for their areas. But at the same time, they're still acting on behalf of these political parties. They're still a member of a gang, in my opinion, or a boys' club, or not a boys' club, or a club in general that they then pledge themselves to and uphold the beliefs of that.
I mean, they call the politics and parliaments projects now.
Yeah.
What does that fucking tell you in terms of it? It's there. This is like the speak of Liz Truss's project, her economic project, a governmental project. And like, what the fuck you on about? And then when you look at the people behind that and all of the fucking think tanks and everything else, and again, same as all of them, a puppet for other people that, we think this and we want this, this and this, and they create a packet, attach it to a person, send it out up to the flag, go to the flagpole, how many people salute? That's the one we want, get in, okay, we'll try this. Yeah. And then, like I say, they're putting policies in place that before it's even hit the news, they've made their money. They've already got their deals, already got their shit, they're out of there, and by the time we're bickering about it, and it's that, they call it the Overton window, like the accepted public political discourse, like the gap between what is acceptable on either side. That is shrinking every fucking day. And this neoliberalist idea of left and right, depending on the subject we're talking about, I'm an extreme communist lefty or I'm a right-wing lunatic.
Yeah.
And my politics, frankly, I don't think it's fucking changed. But This idea that they've created, and you, like you said before, you're not allowed a middle ground. So if I then go, here's 10 ideas, I agree with 8 on this side, I'm on this side, but the 2 on that side, I have to then say I disagree with.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
And that's
crazy. There's, like you say, there is no any sort of moral ground now. There's not anything in between, and that's the moral ground is usually always the right way, mate. It's usually the common sense approach, but there is no common sense approach to politics, is there? It's just this is what we're going to do. This is what I think is going to benefit. So let's try it and see, because nobody knows, mate. Nobody knows how things are going to. Japan have reduced their interest rates to 0%. You can buy Japanese yen for, I think it's like 150 yen to the dollar at the minute, because they've scrapped the interest rate to try and stimulate the economy. So what everybody's doing now is they're buying Japanese yen. Mm-hmm. So everybody's invested in the Japanese yen at the minute. So they're buying the Japanese yen, and it's stimulating the economy so fast.
But that's because Japan want to protect Japan's culture and history. I mean, when the Mongols tried to invade, they thought there was like the Great Spirit. Every time they got in the water, they didn't understand the tidal systems between the countries when they came down through China. And they tried to fucking invade, and the ships got sacked every time. And they were like, we don't fuck with Japan. And then anybody that kind of landed in Japan for fucking centuries, you had to be a motherfucker for them to earn their respect and shit. Otherwise, you were just fucking dealt with. And there's still that protectionist thing that Japan and Japanese first. And that comes from the consequence of the Westerners and fucking Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Like the official mentality afterwards was like adapt, grow, and pass or surpass. Or whatever the nouns are that describe that. But it was basically the thing of, catch up, overtake, and fucking move. Yeah. And look at what they did technologically. And so I think they're then, again, seeking to protect all Japanese classes and citizens. And the culture there is so different compared to the rest of the world. We're just cannon fodder.
But the economy is still so strong, mate, because they realise what's happening and the short givings that are taking place, and they're making up for this by let's reduce the interest rates to 0. Let people start borrowing money. Let's let them borrow money, and they're going to go out and spend that money. So it's going to re-stimulate the economy again.
You're investing it in your own future, and that's what they can see. Whereas the progressive future for any of Japan is a progressive future for all of Japan. Whereas in the UK, do you really think the Tories are going to sign an economic policy that allows you and I to make some money? No, they're going to sign a system that makes you and I more impoverished while gaslighting us and telling us this is for our own benefit. And I think that's the difference, is there isn't this, and this is where I think localism, that homesteading that we spoke of before, people going, you see the memes going, I just need 10 mates to get together, we'll buy this plot of land. And I can understand that driver, but what you're trying to do there is reclaim a space. I think, frankly, there needs to be a new form of nationalism. And this isn't a form of fascism or going, if you aren't us, fuck you, but a new form of British English identity. You know, the Welsh have a strong identity. The Scots have a strong identity. Northern Irish have strong independent identities. Northerners, Scouse, I suppose. And maybe West Country and sort of Bristol, whatever. There's certain cultures emerge there that are representative of the whole. But generally, we've been forced to be homogenized, and so most of the rest of the world thinks of England and thinks of posh fucking Londoners with silly fucking money. Now.
It's like the plants, mate. Everything's a hybridization now.
Yeah, but we need to then, in my opinion, create a defense of uniqueness. Whereas, we have to. It starts with recognizing that fuck me, we owe the world some apologies. You look at the British Empire, you study our history, not the shit they'll teach you when you're in fucking year 7 or 8 or that shit. You actually study our history. You'll be depressed for a while. It'll take you a fucking minute to get over it. But once you kind of get through it, there's a point where you kind of go, all right, I'm not that. I'm not responsible for that. But I carry that legacy. How can I do better? And I think most of us, it's so overwhelming. We can't deal with the state because 1,000 years after 1066 and the Battle of Hastings, the Normans still have all the wealth in this country. If you're of Norman descent, you've got the motherfucking money. So if it hasn't shifted over 1,000 years of the previous systems, the only way it'll shift is if we don't participate in it. So we can homestead or whatever, but then we have to trade with each other. If we created our own economies, that's what has happened as a consequence of the war on drugs. If they actually managed to stop all drug dealing, kids would starve in my street. You know what I mean? If their dads are not out there selling 20 bags or whatever, there's no fucking food on the table.
I think they forget that as well, though, Simple. I think they forget the dynamics behind the fact why people are in this circle where they are dealing drugs or they are selling drugs. These people have still got families as well. Yeah, maybe they are in impoverished areas and they're unemployed. Why are they unemployed? Why is the area impoverished? Why are they having to sell drugs to make ends meet? Why don't they have ample opportunities to better themselves in a day-to-day job that they want to go and do, not just a job for the sake of it, because the job centre says you have to go and get a job or you are not getting this, that, or the next thing. There has to be an incentive there.
Exactly. And the whole thing was David Cameron's campaign of like make work pay. And he did that by punishing benefit claimants. And it was like, wait, what? So you saw that there was this gap between them. So you went, if we give these lot less, this lot looks like it's got more. They just never fucking understood it. Like literally, they were talking about, we're going to create a national living wage. I think that was the fucking Labour Party.
I think it's just, they've just released it. They've just announced it again. It's going up to £14 whatever per hour to try and help the working classes. How does that help the working classes?
It doesn't. Again, we need to look at then salaries over a year. If you're employed in a salaried fucking position and you're on 40 grand, whatever, that's several thousand a month. You're then saying that your time suddenly, if you're then working the same amount of hours for somebody working for minimum, there has to be obviously value to different things and paying in for whatever else in the return of certain things. And talent has to be rewarded. I'm not denying that. I'm not saying everyone has to be on the same wage. But the fact that just because I've got a university degree, oh, well, sir, here's an extra £10,000 a year. Yeah. But who's doing the work for that managerial class? Yeah. It's the low-skilled, untalented, air quotes there for my listeners, that are on minimum wage, that if those guys pulled out, the managerial class would be fucked. Yeah. And that's what they've created, is this cash cow for themselves. And I think the whole illegal drug market, tinfoil hat moment, if you look at Gary Webb's work exposing like the Iran-Contra deals and everything that happened with the real Rick Ross and cocaine being sold, crack cocaine being sold in LA in the 1980s by the CIA. I suppose we'll have to stick an allegedly on there just for my own protection. Yeah, allegedly. I think there's a similar mechanism happening here, because it's one thing I found when we started doing the Durham events. I went and met some pretty, I don't want to call them sinister, some people with some hella reputations that have been involved in various different things. And I just basically went to ask some questions. I went, look, I'm going to do this giant open air event. We're going to sell lots of weed. You're not going to rob me, are you? And that was basically kind of what I went out for. And the different people that I met, and they're like, oh, my cousin's the head of this police force. Oh, my uncle's this, my this. And it's, y'all are the same motherfuckers. And they all go to the same working men's clubs, and they all have the same private clubs. And and I think it happens so that they have this image that they can portray while at the same time making the money from it. So they destabilize these whole former industrial regions. And so rather than having the conversation about it being an economic consequence, because they've flooded these regions with drugs and they're profiting from it because they're the ones in the Mercedes driving into the estates that are picking up from the youngers who are given to the elders that are paid, you know what I mean? And the money leaves. The money leaves that estate. So they're constantly impoverished. They know who they can target with the police to keep them down. They can put the random raids out and go, it's drugs that are ruining your community. It's drugs. When it's not, it's economic policy. Do you think they want Middlesbrough to rise? Do you think they want Blackpool to rise? Manchester, any of these regions? So actually, I suppose obviously Manchester's a bit different in terms of the actual city of it, but it's surrounding regions.
That's the HS2, so let's not be too hasty.
They knew that was never going to fucking happen again with my tinfoil hat on. You look at the property sell-off that they're going to do now. Like there's a story came out of some guy was forced the morning of the announcement of Rishi Sunak cancelling it to sell his fucking house and his property. And then they've been told that, wait, there'll be an opportunity at the auction. You can potentially buy back your property, but it's going to be at the current market price. And by the way, and the amount we gave you is this, but that was discounted on whatever else and worked out using eminent domain and other bullshit fucking laws to go, no, this is what it's worth, what we tell you it's worth, not the market share, what we'll give you, and you'll be happy. And then, they have to buy back at an inflated rate. Yeah, a lot of these fucking people have then had to use that money to then set up another fucking home or whatever else. So they're going to lose. They're just going to lose money everywhere. And if they're not going to have the extra cash to buy their own homes back. And then, so who makes the profit from that? The third-party private companies they've brought in to manage these portfolios.
Yes. And these companies are all government-organised quangos.
Yeah, exactly. They come in and as a lobbyist, and an MP goes, yeah, we'll do this and get these contracts. And then like 6 months after retiring, they get a job on a fucking as a non-director advisor role or
an advisor for an MP or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's
a revolving door of shite.
Yeah, it's It's madness. It's so, like you say, we're so far into it now with the political corruption. These people are passing the laws and the bills to suit themselves. It's going to take something drastic in the next election to shake up politics for the better, because, like you say, it does not matter whether it's left wing, right wing, or the moral ground in the middle. They're all out to benefit themselves, mate. Whether it's for passing laws to benefit themselves whilst they're in power, or whether it's to pass laws that's going to be, like you say, to generate like generational wealth, maybe not in 10 years' time, but 20, 30, 40 years down the line, then it's never going to change me. There's something has to happen. See, in regards to like the cannabis legislation as well, like it's never ever going to happen under a Tory government, because the Tory government are getting so fucking rich off it, mate. They're getting so rich off it exporting this medicine all over the world that we're then buying back at a hyperinflated price.
Yeah, as you said, they get a benefit on both sides. Financially, they get it. They also then get to retain the skunk narrative and that it causes psychosis and be able to hyper-militarize the police and over-police certain neighborhoods and jurisdictions. Yeah, you want to tell me that there's less drugs in Mayfair than there is in, I can't think of a comparable poor area, Croydon or whatever in London. No offense to Croydon. I don't know London economics enough. I was trying to get something high and something low. No, but you know what I mean? One, there's more drugs in Croydon. No, you've got more cops in Croydon, so you're finding more drugs. If you then went to all the fucking poshies, you know, as Boris Johnson was talking about, saying that, you know, he's got plenty of bougie friends that, you know, enjoy a nice spliff after work. Like, why are they not fucking policed? Why are they not? Like, they wouldn't even think of needing the protection. They own their own homes. So their letting agent isn't going to have an issue. Their landlord isn't going to have an issue. So they don't need to be bullied into this racket. You know, they could then, if you've got a gated community, like you have a private grounds, no one can even get on your drive. They need a warrant to get on your drive to get close enough to smell your house. Whereas if you live on a high street and your carbon filter breaks or whatever, and you stink up the street one morning and a fucking Jobsworth cop decides to fucking stick his nose through your letterbox. It's just the classist element of this. I mean, there was Keir Starmer was covered in glitter today, which is quite amusing.
Yeah, that's and what was the guy who was calling for a people's parliament?
A people's house, and I think this is what's happening in Ireland with the People's Assembly. Is they're kind of going now like, fuck your air quotes representative democracy and the bullshit you've created. We want our own system. When again, if we have enough people sign up to it, we control that power. It's what I always said about the cannabis and drug reform movement. We should always have been and should be now a political movement, a political party that's membership driven. So if there's 100,000 of us signed up, we go, knock, knock, Mr. Tory. Do you want 100,000 votes? What are you going to do for us? Knock, knock, Mr. Labour. Do you want 100,000 votes? What the fuck are you going to do for us? Yeah, and we would have that power and that autonomy, and that's what they want to break. That's why they're so anti-union on both sides. That's why they're so anti-collectivism and the idea of, you know, true socialism, small s socialism.
Yeah, I think it, and like you say, we're not getting the reform on the moda or anything like that, because these people are frightened of the outfall and the consequences of the people who are already benefiting from it. Let's just hypothetically talk here for a minute. So let's just say Keir Starmer gets into power. They talk about reviewing the Drug Reform Act and everything. They start talking about the possibility for rescheduling or decriminalisation. So they go through all this process and they start going through all this. The only people that are going to stand to lose money are pharmaceutical companies. Mm-hmm. Which a lot of the people that are sitting in the Houses of Lords and peers and whatever are financially involved with. So, like I say, they're only going to be passing the laws to benefit themselves. So it's never going to change, because as soon as it comes up into a discussion in the Parliament, it just gets shut down because there's too many people sitting on those benches that stand to lose too much money.
Yeah, I think the other side of it, like I said, is that control paradigm. They still get to demonize us, vilify us. They don't have to talk about knife crime. They don't have to talk about socioeconomic deprivation. They don't have to talk about the legacy of, you know, racism, of classism, of a caste system in this country. We don't have to talk about any of it.
They're not involved there. They're in their own bubble. They're doing their own thing. They're not worried. I bet they couldn't even tell you what the price of a pint of milk is, mate.
Yeah, it's a fucked up situation, because their politics, their ideology, their beliefs are informed by the reality they live. And I'm constantly reminded of, there's an image that went viral of Hillary Clinton looking through a doorway into an average woman's kitchen in where the hell was she? New York or somewhere like that. And it was, a modest sized kitchen.
Yeah.
And she's like this, just fucking like, what the fuck? She's so shocked by you feed a family in this room? Do you know what I mean? And they're realities, and then
Decentralization's massive, mate.
Yeah, I think we're arriving at a point of convergence divergence in life, where our future the technology is either going to give us utopia or dystopia. And so once we arrive to a point, if we can either have what Aaron Bastani calls fully automated luxury communism, where there is such an abundance of all resource, and the resources themselves are automated, so they constantly generate new value past the point where labor's not of value. So then everybody has everything and can have everything, and there's no reason to fuck anyone over because everyone has everything. Or the other side of it is that through their automation, and they don't want to create universal incomes or anything like that, because you'll have to find a way to tax the machines and their labor. Yeah. Their labor has to be taxed, and that money then has to go back into society. And there's a famous sort of anecdote that was told of Henry Ford Jr. talking with one of the automotive union directors, walking down an assembly line, is one of his new assembly lines. And Ford quips to the guy and goes, "How do you expect these machines to pay your membership dues?" And the guy quipped back to him and said, "Well, how do you expect these machines to buy your cars?" And it was one thing that Henry Ford Sr. understood. He said that he wanted to ensure that his workers could afford to drive his vehicles. They can't afford to buy my cars. I'm not doing it right. And then his son fucking came on and through the hyper secondary stage of automation. And you got the head of Chrysler at the time, and that kind of fucked things up with his desire to create standardized models, but just change really little nuanced bits and get everybody wanting a new car every year, and the intrinsic obsolescence and everything that kind of crashed out the automotive industry. But that's where we're at now. Is you look at the people in Tesco that are training us how to use the machines that are replacing them.
Yeah.
So you go in and there's maybe 5 manned checkouts, but 50 fucking automated ones. But the machines, and again, conspiracy, I think the machines are programmed to need the people. So every now and then they'll just freak out and do something. I don't think it's necessarily a bug. I think they're just lagging out, having to keep the people until the society is ready enough. And I think this is where we either have to have universal basic income, but it's digital money. These central digital currencies, because I think then it'll be like, okay, here's your benefit, but your benefit will only work in Tesco or whatever clothes shop we want, or whatever. You can only use that money where we want to allow you to use that money.
Central credit,
And that's where I feel like we're going. And it's a scary fucking thing, because anytime we now see a new technology, the average informed individual that's aware of the continuation of history as well as what has previously become before it, that it's not good. The people in charge, they will hear the best thing in the world and find a way to make that destroy us. Yeah, that's just their modus operandi, is to make more money out of it. Oh, so this is going to kill 1 million people. Yeah, but how much are we going to make? How many zeros is that?
Yeah. Let's not start crossing over into vaccines and things now, mate, because we could be here for another 2 hours.
Yeah, the whole idea of coercion of anything. Again, it's informed consent. I want to live in a world, and I've said this to people for a long time. Look, you can call me whatever the fuck you want on the internet. I've had some atrocious things fucking said to me, but I will never seek to get you removed from the internet. That is not my fucking right.
I see it. Yeah, let them have their opinion, but it's like, mate, opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one.
But that's the thing. If everyone was allowed to have their opinion, it would all then be, again, it's almost a free market principle of ideas. And I want the same to be true of, say, cars. I want to be able to crash my car. I don't want to crash my car. I don't want to injure anybody or hurt myself or risk any. I want the ability to crash my car. If I crash my car, it's my fucking fault. Somebody might crash into me or whatever, but I want that control. What is the point of living if you don't have fucking control? I used to do a lot of free climbing. I don't these days, like parkour, like not necessarily like jumping around, but more just free climbing buildings and whatever else. Yeah. And it was always for the thing of sitting at the top, and it was the feeling of, I can do this, and it's in my esteem. I have to get down, and it's because of me I got up here. And it's a sense of achievement. Same thing with the plans.
And you're taking a measured risk.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you're in control of that risk that you're taking, mate. It's like if you jump inside an automated vehicle and that crashes, then that's out of your control. That's nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm. And that's the scary thing. We're seeing the consequence of some of these vehicles.
I never really thought about that before, mate. That's got me thinking as well.
It's the ethics of it as well. Like they're talking about, do you know what the trolley problem is? It's a classic sort of philosophical, ethical kind of quandary, and it's an image. You'll have seen it probably before, and it's a trolley, like, what do they call them? Like a tram, runs on tracks.
All right,
and
yeah.
bell and it stops. And there's two tracks, and on one track is one person, on another track is like 3 or 4 people. And it's supposed to be like a mind thought experiment for you to kind of question your own ethics. Because would you go, then, all right, I killed the one person and killed the 3. But then, okay, well, then what if this one person is this, and this?
Yeah,
and these people are this. And it's people change it by going, well, oh, what if that's a baby or this is an older person? And it's just so you to kind of question your own sort of ethics. But
yeah.
And yeah, there's a similar sort of thing at play here that I want to have to make that decision myself. I don't want to be driving in my car and my car veer off and kill an old man and it goes, well, we detected that he's 5 years younger than the other guy. Or, do you know what I mean? Or that we're going to value this baby over this person or whatever. I want to choose that, and I've had that choice. You know, my clavicle has snapped. This arm is fucking like nearly a centimetre longer than the other because of a massive car accident I had because I made a decision. I lost control of a vehicle, probably at about 70 odd miles an hour. I've dealt with this with the police, so fine, double jeopardy my ass. And it was entirely my fault. I was racing some dickhead in a souped up fucking Clio, and it was inappropriate. It was way back in my youth. I say, way back now. I'm aging. Jesus Christ. And where am I fucking going with this story? I made a decision. I came around this bend and basically a tractor with fucking spikes on this side of the road, a van on this side of the road, and a central reservation with an extended lifted curb and 2 poles. I came around this corner and I had a split second. And my choice was I could either try and go for the far field and take the van out. I could try and turn left and literally get crushed by this fucking tractor. Or I can turn in left and go. I went for the track. I went into the gap for the tractor and the pole. And in my head, I'd hit the pole and I'd go that way and hope that the tractor didn't get me. But my choice was to take me out, not the van.
Yeah.
The van didn't do nothing. But the problem was I ripped off my 2 right side tires and it just bunkered down, and I ended up in the van anyway, but I came at him from a way that he was sat in the driving position and raised, and I came under, and luckily his legs, and he kind of moved himself, and so I got wedged under. But in that moment, I chose that decision. I chose to take myself out. I don't know what that car's programmed to do, if it's programmed to keep me alive, but I made that mistake. So I chose to do what I thought was the right thing in that moment. That's the autonomy I want at every stage of my life. That's what I deserve. If I'm an adult...
The AI's taken over. It's taken over everything. And I say this like there is very positive aspects to this AI, especially for what I do as well, mate, with regards to the testing and writing software and things like that. If you can put 100 sample tests into this, you can get AI to then write you software to develop set parameters for testing. And it's going to give you within a very close percentage accuracy, and that's generated by AI, mate. That's taken. How many people's jobs is that taken, and how fast is it speeding up the development of these products and the software? Yes, it's pushing us forward, but at the same time, it's sending us backwards because everybody's now becoming dispensable. Nobody's positions are concrete anymore. It's only a matter of time, say, before everybody's replaced by these machines, and we're now working for the machine.
If we're not careful, quite aware of the time there, so we'll wrap up before too long. But it feels like to me that we're already seeing it through over specialization. So it used to be you what do they call them? Jack of every trade sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and you'd be trained and you'd know fucking everything and you'd be qualified to think, but they've over specialized so that then people in one area or field don't know how their specialty relates to other specialties.
Yeah.
And so you end up with then, well, I can't touch that. I do this specific heart surgery, but if you then fuck something up, you need another fucking guy in to deal with this bit.
Next bit, yeah.
And same with like mechanics. So then you end up with like the Teslas, you got to go to official Teslas. How long before your Tesla has to be taken to a machine? And then what happens when we create machines to deal with other machines and they have that mechanism? Then there'll be people, and if that paradigm continues, eventually there'll be nobody alive that knows how the machines work, and the machines will be indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah.
And that is terrifying.
They done a test thing, I think it was at the start of the year, where they had AI and they asked it to do a set list of things with regards to, like, it was things that only humans could do. So they set a list of things, and the last thing it had to do was get to do like a manual task.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, AI just went on to Tasker and employed a person to do it.
Yeah.
Boom. Within minutes. And then it was done. It was like, wow. And then I can't really remember the ins and outs of it, but it was basically showing you how obsolete people were going to become in the end. That we're going to end up working for the machines in the end, because we're going to be getting jobs from the machines that they cannot perform, like things with dexterity and things like that. But there's going to become a point where these machines are so advanced that we're going to become obsolete, mate. They're going to have these things with super dexterous attachments that can mimic fingers and things like that.
But Boston Dynamics, you look at the evolution of robotics in Japan, a large field of that is towards dealing with its aging population.
Yeah.
I think, ironically, is probably going to be the one thing out of all the centuries that may force Japan to become more diverse, is that they're going to need immigration to help deal, because these futurists, these individuals that are like,
there's a lot of
the ends justify the means.
Generation. Like the younger generation migrate, the older generation always stay in. Like most people always go home to retire as well. So that's what you're saying. You're going to get to a point in Japan where there's not going to be enough people to power said machines.
And that's, it's again where I worry, but there'll always then be a need for a small labour force. But that labour force will only want to choose to be a labour force, because again, the paradigm will be that it'll overtake it. The wealth generated by the machines will be greater than the labour. Why would you employ a human to do something that machine could do 10,000 an hour for 24 hours every day forever?
Yeah.
So all of those kind of things will disappear. But if they then, how can they incentivize the people to do the laborious tasks if they don't have a scarcity paradigm? But if the machines are creating abundance, how, other than through taxation and obfuscation and through manipulation, how the fuck do we square that circle? How do we make that rational? Do you know what I mean?
How do you balance your books? Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that's where we're going in terms of the consequence and where these conversations are happening. But they're all going, eventually we'll figure it out. So they're like, we're going to go to the moon, we're going to fuck on around with Mars, we're going to do this, it'll be robots, here's these flying cars, here's this. And like, but homelessness is going through the roof. People are starving, kids are dying.
Drug addiction, overdosing.
And they're like, but those things will be figured out once we've got the robots. And it's like, you people are running governments. You're the heads of fucking investment firms and banks, and the ends just, like I said, the ends justify the means. So it doesn't matter the human misery or suffering today, as long as their name is attached to the first flying car, the first intergalactic spaceship, the first
spaceship.
As long as they get their legacy, and that's all they give a fuck about. Elon doesn't give a shit about people actually suffering and wanting to do things of any great meaning and value.
He took over Twitter and fired 70% of their staff overnight because he says he didn't care about conspiracies and censorship and stuff like that. He says, if you don't care a lot about these things, he says that's how you can lose 70% of your workforce.
And I just checked onto X, formerly Twitter, as we talk, as its full title apparently, not that long ago, and I tried to search something about, I think it's Formula One or something like that, and the search function is fucked. The number of bots, the number of just fucking irrelevant tweets, the number of foreign language tweets for all
it's not care, mate.
It's a cash cow, and he's obviously created a new paradigm that I'm hoping collapses social media. For all I benefit in some way from it, although I'm massively censored by it. This charging paradigm. So now the Meta are going to charge for verification, and now Instagram are talking about a paid advert-free version. Obviously, Twitter are talking about being a paid-only thing, and I think once it's not free, we suddenly start to question the thing. If it starts to cost us, even if it's just £5, £10.
Yeah, why would you want to pay that? Mate, I get it, mate. I've done a bit of testing. I know as soon as you involve a monetary value to it, it becomes, I wouldn't say unpopular, but it becomes less attractive.
Yeah.
It's difficult, mate. It's difficult. I'm in limbo at the minute with it all. I'm still driving it forward. I'm still at a point where I'm happy to be testing, to be the face of the testing, but I'm now at the point where it's taken up so much of my time. It needs to be monetized, and it needs to go on to this next level. It's going to need some form of investment or some form of crowdfunding or even a charity getting on board to say, hey, yeah, we love what you're doing. We see that you're doing harm reduction and promoting the safety surrounding cannabis use and whatever else, and we're willing to put in X amount of money every year to make sure that you're still doing this throughout the UK, kind of thing.
Yeah, man.
It's we're at a point now where everybody wants it, or the vast majority want it, but they're unwilling to be putting forward a financial receipt towards any sort of work that I'm doing on my end.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a way to do a bit of financial jiu-jitsu. We're going to use the PP word. I do apologize here, but somebody like Prohibition Partners, or these data-driven entities that are like, if you could figure out a way to say if you partnered with a university and you had their license, so anybody could post into effectively like a PO box that's for the uni.
Yeah.
The samples are all there. That's then traced and not traced as in from the person, but once it's in the building, it's under license. They can perform the testing under that. This company head by yourself, you can obviously do whatever else and bring in all of that data from events, because under their banner, in the same way the Loop are allowed to test on site, etc. Figure that mechanism out, but then partner with somebody like Prohibition Partners to pay for it, because then they are allowed access to part of the data set. But obviously, you as the proprietor own the majority of it, or still the data set as its whole.
It's the information that's the important part.
That's the value to it now. They don't give a shit about the rest of it. If they can say, well, we've tested these products in the UK and this is what they are, that then informs that thing. But if it's then held by someone like yourself, it's set up in a charity or like a CIC or something that ensures that there isn't the mechanism and motives for people to profit from it. And can keep it transparent. But dude, the universities are clamming to get.
I was just going to say that, mate. There's a lot of drug science things at universities where they have things in like the university bars and things like that, where you can go in, or you can go into drop-in sessions and have things tested impartially or without any fears of any consequences and things like that, just for the harm reduction side of things. There's a demand there for it and there's a need there for it. It's just finding the right body and the right partners to get involved with. I say there's obviously scope for PP and obviously like drug science and things like that. It's just finding the right people to come on board to drive it forward rather than just keep it as it is, kind of thing. Yeah,
this is what we said. I think it's honest discourse, transparency, and authenticity will gain us the world. We have to be able to talk about this, identify this, and I'm hoping pretty soon we'll have a litmus test of sorts to be able to figure out what side of the fence people are on. For all I don't like it being this binary zero-sum battle, but
because that's it. You're either on the legacy market or you're on the pharmaceutical side of things. There's no crossover. You're either lawful or unlawful, and there's no middle ground in between it. So how can you provide the harm reduction and provide that sense of security for people within, like, with the products that they're consuming, if you are deemed to be committing unlawful behaviour or you're deemed to be breaking the law by, well, I'm never in possession of anything because I never ever touch it, but it's the fact that I'm still providing a service on a product that's still deemed to be unlawful.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you go down the pharmaceutical side of things and you look into the science side of things, it then automatically becomes lawful.
Yeah, and it's frustrating that why should then this system, and there's an irony to it, and again why I think the data sets created from the legacy industry would be so invaluable, because they're obfuscating and hiding and not telling anybody what grow mediums they're using, what additives they're using, and the regulations say that there's no reason for them to tell us that.
Yeah, I've got 5 years worth of data, mate. I've got 5 years dating back worth of testing in the UK at most events in the UK and most legacy events in the UK throughout the year, including some others like Product Earth and Paradise and things like that. But I've got more information than what these guys could dream of. From this side of the fence. So why is it not being entertained?
Well, they'll argue it's protocols, procedures, etc. That it's not set in the right way. But
comes down to tape, mate. It's always the red tape.
There's some interesting mechanisms that do exist. there was something that was set up around the AIDS crisis in the States, and I think we adopted something similar over here, or in some of the states, rather. Shouldn't generalize. There's a lot. There's a lot of them that basically allowed for the AIDS patients themselves to be able to correlate their own data and create like almost charities or this other entity that could work under the procedures of medical guidance. So basically the data they created was scientifically viable. So they correlated it in a way that meant that it was useful for future study. So for all the government were being cunts at the time, there was a way that they were able to work together to kind of create this information and move the argument forward. And I wonder if there's a similar sort of thing that could be done here.
Quite possibly. Like I say, mate, I'm in limbo at the minute. There's a few avenues I can kind of take this down. I can explore a bit further. I can either take it globally and be seen to be getting a global idea of the cannabis scene and what's being produced globally, whether it be pharmaceutical, medicinal, legal or illegal, or lawful or unlawful. Or I could go down the avenue where it's backed by an investor, or say an investor, and backed by somebody willing to put some kind of financial monetary value against it, or it could be backed by an investor who just wants to make a return on a business. There's 2 or 3 avenues there that can be explored, but the service, I think everybody's in agreement that it needs to be, the testing has to take place and it has to grow to include toxicity, heavy metals, and minor cannabinoids in the terpene levels as well. But without the UHPLC machine, it's just not going to happen, and without the best part of 20 grand. But there are facilities that are able to do this in the UK right now, but due to legal and binding contracts, they are unable to process them. But if you're in a scientific guise, you're able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there must.
Maybe I should just buy a white coat.
Why not? Seems to work for quite a few others.
Yeah, God. Hey. I think that's a good point to leave it for one day, mate. My battery's flashing at me here as well.
Yeah, we've timed it well then. No, I think we literally covered everything that I wanted to
mate,
sort of touch base with. We did well.
Jabber for hours about nonsense, mate. We were very similar in that way, I think.
Yeah, no, agreed. But yeah, really appreciate you sort of taking the time. As always, I just want to get different narratives, different perspectives, and I think you have a unique position that you sit in.
Like I say, I'm on the fringes of both. I speak to the legacy market quite a lot, and I deal with a lot of information for the pharmaceutical side of things as well. The pharmaceutical asks me questions with regards to the legacy market, and I'm in a position now where I don't want to be passing any of my knowledge in between the two. I do not want to do that. They're now at a point where they're trying to buy up our knowledge for a salary, and I've seen it happen over the last 2 years, and I'm just not willing to do it. I'm trying to push this forward for everybody rather than just people to get rich, mate.
Yeah. No, I think that's, again, the thing that we have most in common is if we make money, that'd be nice, but it's the world that we want to see that we're fighting for.
It's the passion that drives you, mate.
100%. And hopefully that came through on this recording. Where can people keep up with you?
Socials as always, Instagram, CBD_sciatic_James, or if that's a bit of a dyslexic nightmare for you, I've got another one shortened to CBD_James now, so you can catch me up on there. I say there's not much on the page, it's just test certificates, it's just what's happening in the UK on that week. It's usually got rundowns for any events that have happened with regards to many special flower or stuff that I've seen. I think you've appeared in there once or twice yourself before as well with regards to some prescription medication you had, I believe. I think there was a Blue Dream thrown in there as well somewhere.
That wasn't prescription, but yeah, I've got some interesting stuff for sure. I need to get on your little machine because I think as you're saying, always looking for something a bit different. I think I've got a couple of things a bit different. Some things I'm really sure are different, but I have no idea what the fuck they are. So accidental crosses that you need.
Yeah, those are usually the ones that are providing the surprises, mate. But we'll catch up. We'll catch up again at some point before Christmas time, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, I'll let you get off. I'll do a bit of housekeeping and wrap this up. And yeah, I'll include links below as well so people can jump straight over and find you. But yeah, once again, James, appreciate your time as always.
Mate.
It's been
always a pleasure.
brother.
Always, mate.
All right, peace and love, brother. I'll let you get off.
Thanks, Simpa.
Peace. Bye. Well, there you go, folks. That was, we're just calling him James these days. We've dropped the CBD. What do they call them? Is it mono non-Islamic? I can never pronounce that word. I can't even read it properly in my head. But, like Madonna, single named. So he joins that crew alongside Pat as being the one name wonders of the Simpa Life Podcast guest. So, yeah, really appreciate James giving us, it was basically about 3 hours there. It was a good amount of time. Hell of a conversation. I think we covered a lot of great topics. It was great to catch up with him and to find out about what he's been, doing, his experiences within sort of the testing field, the product testing, his first-hand experience of Thailand, and to just kind of catch up and shoot the shit. Really enjoyed that. As you said, we could have spoke for many more hours and talked a lot more shit on a lot more subjects, but I was trying to keep it a bit sort of on point. So I think we did not too bad of a job there, to be fair. Just want to say a massive shout out and thank you to people for supporting this project of mine in the face of such censorship and shadow banning on various platforms. I'm aware because of the language that I use, because of the content that I produce and the conversations that I create with my guests each week, quite controversial, quite contentious. So they typically meet censorship. So the people that go out of their way to actually support this project, this podcast, I am forever grateful. Thank you to the people who've sent me support messages in the past few weeks as well. While I've been absent, this podcast rises and falls on my mental health, sort of week to week, day to day. And yeah, it's been a tough little spot recently. So I greatly appreciate anybody that is sent messages, sent support, continue to support the podcast in my absence. You're fucking wonderful. I greatly appreciate you. If you enjoyed this project, please do give us this podcast, please do give us a little like, a share, subscribe, a rating, a bit of feedback. Be honest. I always appreciate some honest feedback. Help me kind of keep evolving this project so that, it's representative of the culture, that it is inclusive of, and representative of the legacy community, the legacy cannabis culture, and represents our history and our heritage in a positive light. Please do, check us out on all social media platforms. I was going to say check out the Simpa Life, but I'm having a bit of a argument with two domain providers at the minute who it seems like one of them has lost the domain and the other one isn't taking fucking responsibility. So currently my site, both things are linked to a fucking domain that doesn't exist. So there is no simpalife.com currently. There is, but it's not showing on the the public internet at the minute. I'm really struggling with that. So hopefully in the coming days, weeks, and months, fingers crossed, that'll be resolved and you will be able to check out thesimpalife.com. In the meantime, check out patreon.com/thesimpalife, where for less than a cup of coffee, you can help me keep the lights on this little project of mine. You've been beautiful. Thank you for your time as always, folks. I'll be back next week with somebody. It'll be awesome. You'll enjoy it. I'll have fun either way, and you guys will like it. It'll be all right. All right. Peace and love, folks. I'll see you soon. I couldn't see my own hand to figure out what fingers I was holding up there. Jesus Christ. There we go.